I'm Ultra David. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday Show.
And I'm James Chen. How's everybody going? I'm going to make sure that this is saved this way here, because I think that's what it is. The presentation is saved with the audio as muted.
Anyway, we have a whole month of stuff to talk about because we haven't done this in an entire month. We have been away due to Evo Japan, and the week before that we had Gerald on here to talk about history, so actually a whole month of stuff. But we can't do that.
Right. We're not going to squeeze everything in there. Yeah.
So instead what we're going to do is cover the most important stuff, starting of course with this, which just happened, the Evo 2019 lineup reveal, the games that will be in there. We'll talk all about that. That'll be, that is a big set of news right there, that's for sure. There's some interesting stuff coming out of that. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about Evo Japan and Japan generally, and the tournament and results. We'll talk a little bit about other tournament results. We'll talk about some Mortal Kombat news and other news. We'll chat about some drama, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on.
Again, a lot of stuff.
A month
A whole
of
month.
Stuff.
A whole month.
Uh-huh.
But I have on my Evo jersey from 2010.
I have on my Evo shirt from literally a month ago.
Oh, well, I have my Evo shirt on from literally a month ago also.
Oh, dang, look at that. Okay,
I was planning to reveal that later, but instead it came right now. Anyway, let's talk about the Evo 2019 lineup.
Yeah, okay. Well, obviously some shocks, obviously some good news, obviously some unfortunate news for some scenes.
For sure, and it's always going to be like that in some respect. You know, Evo maintains that it can't do more than 8 or 9 games per year.
Right.
You know, to the extent that's true, then that's what they go with.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, to be honest with you, like, the thing about it is, you have to remember that Evo as a tournament is on an order of magnitude larger, I feel like, than a lot of other events because so many people go there. So as soon as you add a new game, it's not like you're adding 200 people. Like last year, the tournaments were all around like 1,000 people, save for a few of them, right? So if you put in more events, it's not just like, hey, let's run 20-some tournaments like we can at like Frosty and Combo Breaker. It's not quite the same thing. So a lot of people always ask, can't we throw more? But they're doing a lot of stuff. They talked about the side tournaments.
We'll get to all the news. Yeah. So let's just go over the games first. So the order that they were announced: Tekken 7, Street Fighter V. I think everybody thought those two were the locks. Those were absolutely nobody disagreed with any of that. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, the third one announced.
Right.
I thought that was a little bit up in the air. Smash Ultimate after that, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Soulcalibur VI, Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Shodown, and Under Night in Birth.
I feel like every year they have to have one thrown in for the the kind of surprise throwing in for a loop kind of thing. Last year was BB Tag.
Last year was definitely BB Tag. Maybe the bigger one was not having Marvel. Right? That was the year that Marvel stopped being at Evo and was replaced with Marvel in BB Tag. So, but that was, at the time, as much as I now like BB Tag, and like instantly when it came out, I loved it. Before it came out, I thought that was a bad pick. I mean, I remember talking about that last year, thinking that was not the right call. They should have let Marvel in or whatever. Something else that was out, that had a scene, rather than hoping that this game would be good. Because there's no guarantee. Right. And that even if it was good, that it would have a lot of players. That was not guaranteed either. So Samsho is going to be the same kind of thing. I think that is to me the biggest surprise out of this lineup. You know, so having Samsho, some dudes are talking about this on Twitter. SNK's record on a game's initial release is like not super fantastic in terms of how the balance is. And they said that Samsho is going to be out in early summer.
Right. So even if it comes out in June, it's going to be like a month.
A maximum of a month and a half, right? To actually try to balance the game. If there's any issues, and hopefully there won't be, but if there's any problems, they have a very short window to do that in. So I don't know, man. That's
here's my hot take on this.
Okay.
Samurai Shodown wouldn't be right if it wasn't broken.
It's a very old school mentality.
Like, if Samurai Shodown comes out and it turns out like one character's super broken and it's just like the crazy, like the game is just wild, like...
Well, I expect the game to be wild, but it doesn't...
I just played Samurai Shodown 5 for the first time.
Oh, okay.
like ever
Okay.
in Japan,
Yeah.
right? I played it with Corey Bell and Jobin,
Okay.
who are big fans of the game. And I did counter with Jubei, which is just like a high, medium, low counter, and I drained half of their life on one counter.
You know.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
it's the way it is. So.
Yeah, the game I would say does look quite different. There was a gameplay, a little bit more of the gameplay.
It looks so much
in
like
the Evo
Street
thing.
Fighter 4.
It really does. Yeah, we were talking about that. It doesn't look like a previous Sam showed to me where the jumps are 1,000,000 feet tall and the jump attacks are super. It doesn't look like that. It looks more like Street Fighter 4, it seems.
And
But I guess
again,
we'll see.
I already see people talking about this in the chat. Okay, look, obviously everyone's like, oh, people paid to get their game in there, whatever, like that. I mean, Eunice is in the lineup, right? French Bread doesn't have any money. I really don't think that. It's. I know a lot of people are going to doubt it, but the Evo staff has always said that they've never been paid to have a game in their lineup. Like, obviously, they will consider, like, oh, is this a hot game, or is this could be something for the future, or whatever like that. But no company has ever paid for their game directly to be in the lineup. So.
Well, we're talking about Eunice. I mean, let's talk about it a bit more then. So it's a game that you have really liked.
Yes.
And that has been growing. It's been getting better and better numbers.
Right. Dude, I already said earlier this year that if Eunice made it in at the sacrifice of Guilty Gear, and everybody knows how much I love Guilty Gear, that I would take it. Because Guilty Gear's had a couple of great years at EVO already. Just a few years in a row now of some really high-level play and everything like that. Look, I mean, if we had Guilty Gear again this year, I mean, are we really going to have another tournament that Omito is going to win? No, I'm kidding. But the thing about it is, like, Guilty Gear's had some great runs, and I just tweeted this on Twitter as well. Guilty Gear, last time that it was at EVO and then next year it wasn't at EVO, that was the drama debacle of the team tournament that only 2 out of 11 people showed up for the top 8. For the top 8 on time. And so they dropped it that year. And the entire Guilty Gear scene was like, boycott.
This is like 15 years ago.
Yeah, and like the
Maybe
entire
12.
scene was like, boycott EVO because they're not putting us back. And I made this big plea. I was like, dude, show up, run a side tournament, be hype, and good things will happen. Like, negativity is not the way you combat things, right? And so they did. They went there. They had 2 side tournaments. They were loud. They were hype. They lasted forever. Even some of the Evo staff was in the back just watching it because it was like the last thing to end that day. Next year, it was back at Evo again because they were like, hey, the scene showed up and they did a great job, right? So, again, if Guilty Gear fans are like, oh, well, screw this. Our game, dude, go there, run an awesome side tournament. They'll probably put you on the main stage, on the main side stage and everything like that.
That's probably true.
And support it. I mean, Guilty Gear still has a very strong presence. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Japanese players came out to play the side tournament anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And having said that, I'm so ecstatic for Eunice.
Okay.
I'm so happy for Eunice because that game, like every year, they're always going to be like, oh, Evo's not about the community. Evo's not about the community. Every year, there's a game that kind of defies that, and then people get mad that it's in the tournament. Right? KOF 14, the one year that it was in there, everyone was like, why you put this game in here? Nobody plays it. They're trying to help support the community, right? This year it's Eunice. If you're going to be mad that Eunice is in the tournament, then you're going against everything that you said about like Evo needs to listen to the community. That's the game right there. That is the ultimate community game. The fact that it is at increasing numbers at every tournament and just has reached new levels of like support and everything like that. And I've long believed that Eunice is like one of the best fighting games out there. Absolutely deserves it. So I'm super ecstatic about that game being there.
It's basically grown by word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Like it hasn't been pushed from the top down in any sense. It's basically a bottom up thing, which I think is super cool. So I'm happy for it to be there. It's not a game that I've followed very closely myself, but the previous Under Night game I was way into.
Dude,
right?
we found an excuse to talk about Uniel every week.
Yeah, for sure. So the only reason I'm not playing it now is just due to having limited time and sort of prioritizing other games. But yeah, I think it's great that game is there. I think that's really cool. I'm not sure that the old Guilty Gear story is very relevant for modern times.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, I just games. That was a period of time when few games were coming out, right? So like the lineup of available games was basically the same year to year. Maybe a new Tekken came out, maybe a new iteration of Gear came out, but like there wasn't as much flux as there is now.
Right.
So in modern times, like having a hype side tournament is probably not going to bring gear back. It'll probably,
no. I don't think it's going to bring gear back. I'm just saying.
I think we'll take a new release.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that right now, I feel like the attitude of, hey, let's not go to, let's boycott Evo because our game isn't there is even back then and even now, I think is the wrong attitude.
To be fair, I haven't seen anybody say that on Twitter yet for gear.
Yeah,
I should say.
Okay.
But I guess we'll see. So anyway, the other ones include Soulcalibur VI. I'm very happy that that's there. I was not sure it would be. I mean, even though it's a new game, it's not as big as Tekken is. It's not as big as many other games, to be honest. Although it has been growing, it's been getting better numbers. It's certainly a game I really, really enjoy. So I'm happy that it's there. But I was. I thought I had predicted that it would be in, but it was not a lock in my opinion at all.
Yeah, I thought Soulcalibur was going to be the new MVCI. To be honest with you, it's a game that I love, that I really enjoy. I thought it wasn't. I thought it was just going to disappear, and I'm excited about that. I think someone said at an Evo Japan panel. I think it was Corey Bell who told me that they had a panel with Okubo, and they asked about Soulcalibur World Tour. And he was actually like, we're trying or something like that, which was like the most reveal that anybody has ever had about the game. And so, again, I really like the game. I've been hoping that the game has had a chance to thrive, and it's been kind of, waiting in the waters right now.
Yeah.
And, everybody always says, Evo needs to support this game because that's what's going to give it the shot in the arm. Well, let's prove that. Let's prove that then, because I've always said that I don't believe that that's the case. I don't think Evo needs to support the game for it to succeed.
Well, I think that's true too.
Right? But if everybody claims that, Evo needs to put it in the lineup for the game, then prove it right now. Let's see Samurai Shodown blow up. Soulcalibur blow up.
Well, it's gonna,
and let's see it actually happen. So
So to be clear, I think that Evo supporting a game doesn't mean that game lives. But if a game's not doing great and Evo doesn't have it, that game dies. Right? I think that's what I would say.
Yeah.
So Mortal Kombat is in there. I was like 1% concerned. Not majorly.
Okay.
Not majorly.
Okay.
But like 1% concerned that it wouldn't be at Evo this year. I don't know. I don't even have a good reason. To be honest, it might just be one of those things where I want it so badly that what if it doesn't happen?
Right,
it's like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was my feeling. So I'm really happy that it's going to be there. We'll talk about the Sunday lineup in a little bit. It's not on. But,
I'm not surprised that it's there. I mean, I expected it. I felt like it was a lock.
I don't know. I know it. All right, it happened.
It's good. You can calm down now. If I could get up, I would just give you a massage right now. So
all right, it happened. All right. Good.
Yeah. But I feel like it's a lock to be in there. I'm excited for it because, like I said, just from the MK reveal, like Joey even mentioned there, I really like the fact that it's going to be a slower paced game. I'm really interested in seeing how the footsies are going to play because I feel like it's like the opposite, like Street Fighter V opposite, in which it's going to be a footsie-based game, but everybody has wild, long-range, gigantic buttons that are safe on block, right? So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out, I'm excited. I like the new meter system with the defense and the offense and everything like that. Obviously, it's going to be interesting how it's going to. Because there's no non-gore version, right? And those fatal blows are kind of worse than a lot of fatalities and stuff. But
I think there's a real chance that it has the best footsies ever in a 2D game.
So you like the big safe buttons, right? I mean, look.
I already think that games that don't have proximity blocking allow for more precise footsies.
Yeah.
So I've long thought that, now for a game with that to be primarily about footsies. Injustice is a little bit about footsies. MKX was a little bit about footsies. This is footsies.
Dude,
I think
I'll tell you this right now. One of the main reasons why I like Super Turbo is because everything is a big button and safe on block.
Yeah.
Right? Every normal is practically plus, right?
Yeah.
Right? Soulcalibur, I love that too because all the buttons are big. I've discovered that I like games with big buttons and range.
It feels fun, right? Yeah.
Right.
You have options.
You get to swing and stuff like that. And that to me is much more appealing. And so those games I tend to play and enjoy a lot more. So with Mortal Kombat being that way, I just need a character that comes out that speaks to me, you know. And as soon as that happens, then I'm all in Mortal Kombat. So
cool, man.
I'm excited.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Under Night, giant normals as
Right.
well, right?
Right.
I'm using Nanase, whose 2B is like the stupidest long-reaching move ever, right? So
Yep. That's part of why I like Wild Tiger and BB Tag. You know, no surprise that Tekken is there, that Street Fighter is there. Like I said, I think those were the most obvious locks. But nevertheless, good to see that they are there. They were Tekken grew last year as opposed to every other game,
right?
Basically, which did not grow in terms of entrance. So that's good and deserving. And even in the last year, it's continued its upward trajectory, right? It has been on this upward trajectory for a few years now, and it's like definitely still on that path. It hasn't topped off yet.
And it was crazy because like for when I was in Japan and I was playing Tekken, like. Round 2 just released there, and so when I was playing online, everybody was trying out all the new characters and stuff like that. So yeah, that game is definitely just always is even in Japan is on the upswing right now. So
and SF5 is a really good game as of like a year and a half ago. So hopefully anyway, I really like the game right now. I'm really stoked.
Dude, I'm really excited for that game. I feel like Season 4 is really so strong right now. The only problem is, right now, is there a Season 4?
Yeah, I guess we'll see,
but
right?
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So,
BB Tag is maybe my favorite game at the moment. Maybe it's SF5. It's between those two for sure. And like I said, when it was announced last year, I thought that was a mistake, but it ended up being a game that I really, really enjoy. And I'm so happy that there's still going to be a entrant in like the versus subgenre of fighting games at Evo this year.
I mean, you always joke that it is the new Marvel, and it is. It's totally the new Marvel.
It's in that same subgenre. It's not the Marvel brand, obviously, but it's the same subgenre as Marvel 2, Marvel 3, Skullgirls. Like, it's the same subgenre.
So you remember when Vanilla Marvel came out, there was that very, very famous footage of Krizzle activating X Factor at the very start of the round and killing his opponent in like 9 seconds with Sentinel, right? At Frosty Faustings, you saw the match with Flux, right, versus Seth Lalalal, which was round 1 fight. Flux called his assist, and then Seth Lalalal hit both of them, and literally halfway through the combo, Flux told me that he looked at Seth and was like, "I'm dead." All right. Like, next game, right? Yeah. And yet, sure enough, he died. Like, that was it. That was it. It was one combo, and he killed both characters. It is basically the new Marvel right now.
I really think so. But I'm happy that it's going to be 3 out of 5. They announced that specifically. That I think is important for that kind of game, just because of that kind of wild nature of the game. So I think that's really good. Dragon Ball FighterZ, not a surprise by any stretch. It should be there. For sure, right? In terms of the interest the game has, the number of players, number of viewers.
The question was just the licensing kind of stuff, right? That was it. If the licensing was good to go, then obviously the game needs to be there, like without question. Of course. So, again, just full disclosure, the two of us have obviously not been as enamored with the game as a lot of other people have. True. But, again, some of the people who do play the game, they love the game so much, and it's gotten so much hype, it's gotten so much, play. The entry numbers are really strong for the game, and so I feel like if it wasn't there, it would have been a big, like, what the hell, 1 year of Dragon Ball? Like, it would have been terrible.
So. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not the first game that hasn't been my favorite, right? So that doesn't mean that you don't support the people who are playing it and hope that
exactly.
Yeah, I'm really happy that it is going to be there. Somebody asked me on Twitter before, like, how it could be that Dragon Ball is here and not in Evo Japan, if indeed it was a licensing issue. And the best answer that I have, because I don't know personally, is that the rights holders are often different in US versus Japan. Even if it's the same, like, overall company, the US subsidiary or whoever they've licensed out to in the US often has like US specific rights, and they often treat it differently. If that's what's happening here, I couldn't tell you, but that's my guess.
Good call. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last one announced is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, great that it's there. I'm very happy that the game's in, right? And obviously it's going to be in. Same kind of issue as Dragon Ball. You got a weird expression on your face.
I'm just, because you're sounding like there's a but.
No, what?
Okay.
There's a but. Would it be there was the question, because of the same thing as Evo Japan. It wasn't there, right? So, but again, same. My explanation. I don't have personal knowledge, but my guess is just that Nintendo Japan deals with things differently than Nintendo US.
Right.
Of America, I should say. I don't know, but that seems likely to me. So that being the case, as long as it's like allowed to be there, for sure it's going to be there.
Right.
Because it's so big.
And what's interesting is that, Wizard has said that he feels like it has the potential to break all the records.
Yeah.
So I see this discussion in chat right now. I see people talking about it. They say if it has more numbers than Street Fighter, should it be last on Sunday?
I think so.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
I thought that last year as well.
With Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
you thought Dragon Ball. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think this would be the right game to be last on Sunday, not Street Fighter in the first one in not a few years.
Yeah.
If Ultimate can get those kind of numbers, because I feel like Ultimate is super exciting this year, and I just
It's a really good game.
really, really strong game. I've been seeing very similar the stuff that we've been saying about Street Fighter V Season 4 has been true about Ultimate, in that the roster has been pretty variety. The variety of the good
Yeah, you look at
characters
top
in the
8s and
games.
stuff,
Yeah.
top 16s, there's a lot of variety, yeah.
So I think I would be super excited if it was last on Sunday. Right?
It would be great. No problems with that.
Is it going to be? I mean, Street Fighter's been the final game. Street Fighter has the history, the pedigree, the storylines. I mean, like, Tokido fighting games is something so great.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard one to do, right? It's going to...
But okay, so last year Dragon Ball had more, but not like way more.
Right.
If Smash does break the record, which was like 5,000, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it
yeah,
something
yeah,
completely off the wall?
Right, yeah.
If it's like that, it must be. It must be last. If it's 5,000 versus 2,000, it must be.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Like,
Because you know what? I totally didn't even think about it, but you're right. The record is 5,000.
Yeah,
so if
it's
it
like
can
just
break
off the wall
5,000,
number.
yeah.
So that's what I think.
Yeah.
Now, those are the games that made it. Some games didn't make it.
Yes. So I already talked about at length Guilty Gear. So we don't need to talk about Guilty Gear anymore.
Gear.
Obviously, the big one is Melee, right?
Correct.
Not talking about Ultimate and everything like that.
Right.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I love Melee to death. And even when Ultimate was announced, I was like, man, if Ultimate can be good enough that it's the only Melee Smash game at Evo, I'd be okay with that. So as much as I love Melee, as much as I want Melee to be at Evo, I'm okay with it not being there, kind of like the Guilty Gear syndrome, right? I'm okay with it because it had a great run. It's been there for a very long time. It's an old game right now. So, let's
Has been an old game.
Right,
but-
and someone actually even said, and someone asked Joey the same question on there, like, if that opens up the door for an Evo Classic, like, let's do Evo Classic in September then. You know, let's just do it, Evo Classic in October, November, or something like that, right? Let's have a Evo Classic with ST, Third Strike, Guilty Gear XX, right? Do XX instead, and then have MVC2, CVS2,
KOF 98 or whatever.
KOF 98, Melee. Like, let's do an Evo Classic.
That would be cool.
And Joey made the comment that he feels like 4 people, which like no. This thing would be. Like, the best thing about it is, if you did an Evo Classic, it might be the same size as pre-Street Fighter 4 Evos, which would actually be sick because it would have that kind of old school Evo. It would seriously just be Evo Classic, and it would be so
It's like
exciting.
in a college ballroom. Ugh,
Dude,
that'd be amazing.
God,
Anyway,
it'd be so good. Yeah.
Look, I am bummed that Melee's not there.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I wish it were there. I mean, not just that I'm bummed. I think it sucks that it's not there. It's still a game that is it's still changing, right? It hasn't topped out.
Finally, it's starting.
Well,
to
there
change.
was some stagnation for a few years in terms of results and characters, but now is not like that, right? Characters are getting. Pikachu got second, like, recently. Like, it's
okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yoshi is one of the 10 best in the world. Like, there's all this change is happening. The players who are winning or who are getting grand finals are
even
changing.
Like Plup is in there now.
Yeah.
He's in the mix. Obviously, Leffen, who's been there for a little bit now.
Evo.
So
So
twice. Yeah.
He's the last Melee player to win Evo. Yeah. So it's still it's not like it's like hit a roadblock and it's not changing anymore. So I wish that it was still there. It's still it gets so many viewers just on a. Not even just at Evo, although it does at Evo, but whenever there's a big major, Melee is getting big views. It consistently has bigger views than many other traditional fighting games.
Plup is taking a break from Melee?
Still has a lot of players, right? Still has a lot of entrants. So I feel like it's it's not the case that it like petered out. It's like still going.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know, I'll give the same
wish it
speech
were there.
to the Melee crew that I've been giving to the Guilty Gear crew. Probably going to fall a little bit more on deaf ears because I know that they're a little bit more upset right now. They're very frustrated by not being there. But you know, go there. Have a great side tournament. Play in Smash Ultimate, right? But then have an amazing side Melee tournament. Like I said, you catch more flies with honey, right? So if you go there and show Evo why they made the mistake of not having it there. If you have a Melee side tournament with more entrants than Samurai Showdown or more entrants than BB Tag or more entrants of, you know, than other events, you know, that's the best way to show Evo. Like,
it's not coming back, man.
Dude.
Look, the thing, it's not like how it was when few games were coming out. Like, there's 2 or 3 new games every year.
I know.
I just don't think so.
Melee,
it'd be great, but I just don't think so.
I agree with you on Guilty Gear. I said Guilty Gear, yes. I think Melee is the sole exception to this. I think Melee could be the only one that could buck that.
I mean, it basically has bucked the trend every other game
has
had.
Exactly.
And it's still a major game a million years after release.
Exactly. So I think Melee could do it. And if they showed up to Evo, and let's say the next year, for some of the communities just die off, and then there's like 8 obvious games, and there's that 9th opening game, right? And then the Evo staff's like, well, Melee had that great showing last year at Evo in the side tournament.
I don't know,
let's bring it back. Like, it could happen. It could happen for Melee, in my opinion. So,
and you know what? For Melee, they still have a lot of great tournaments, right? Evo is by far the biggest for most games, but it's not by far the biggest for Melee. Melee has other tournaments that also have very high numbers of entrants, 4 digits of entrants. So, you know, hopefully things will go all right.
A lot of people in the chat are saying that Melee doesn't look good in 2019. But I don't know, Genesis I thought was super fun, right?
Yeah,
I thought that was really exciting.
For sure.
I don't know, man. So,
I mean, it doesn't look worse now. It looks like the graphics obviously are the same. I don't know.
I think they mean gameplay doesn't look as strong. You know, I mean, I think they're talking about gameplay. So,
well, I definitely disagree with that because I remember when it was like all or mostly Fox in the top 8. And I was not interested in that.
No. Genesis having, like you said, Pikachu as the number 2 character, second place character is pretty exciting. So
Jigglypuff, Pikachu, Sheik, Fox, Yoshi, Marth, Falco, and Falcon were all in top 8.
Right.
So it's just
that's
it's not like how it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's not at Evo.
Yeah. So. But like I said, it should be at Evo, and I mean that, as a side tournament that, like I said, I feel like the players should go anyway and play and run an awesome side tournament. You know, if you are a leader in the Melee community and are watching this, please try to encourage the positivity factor of it. And again, I'm a man who sits there and tries to preach positivity all the time. Every time positivity has been the course of action has always bred better results. And so I'm hoping it's that way. I know right now the Melee community is probably up at arms and they're mad, which is funny because last year after, you know, every year Smash community is always like, we don't need Evos. You know, we don't want to be at Evo. Who cares about Evo? And then when it's not at Evo, they're all mad about it.
I mean, I get it. Like, because it's both. Like, they do have other big tournaments. But if you're left out of the, like, biggest traditional fighting game tournament, I get that you're, you know, you can be both upset and also think it's not the only big tournament in the world. I think that's fine. Anyway, I'm a little bit bummed about that, but that's what they did. Then the other game that's not at Evo this year is DOA 6. It comes out next week, March 1st. It's very soon now, and it's not going to be there. Instead, they went with a game in Samurai Shodown that is not released yet. What do you think about DOA not being there?
I mean, I feel like just from history knowledge that I may have a little bit of insight as to why the game is not in there. Was when it came out on the Xbox 360, the DOA that came, I think it was DOA 4, came out on the Xbox 360. It was like the first or second highest selling game on the 360 because it was one of the first online games that could be played, and it was super hyped. So Evo that year said DOA is in Evo, and nobody showed up for it.
Really?
Nobody showed up for it. Like there was like Jason Cole got like top 10 it was one of the years that it was sponsored by Yaris, so it had a $5,000 prize, right?
Okay.
Jason Cole showed up to like Evo West and got like top 10. He basically got like DQ'd into top 8 or something like that. Like everybody else got DQ'd and like he got in. Nobody showed up for it. So
was that the year Perfect Legend won Evo?
That was one of them, I think. Yeah.
Well, obviously he won MK as well.
Yeah, but again, the DOA scene I don't feel like has proven that they will show up to an event yet.
But that was, to be fair, it must have been a dozen years ago.
Right. And again, same kind of thing. If DOA comes out and there's a big DOA community out there and they're mad about it, go throw an awesome side tournament then. Show Evo that DOA is not DOA, right? I mean, it's an unfortunate acronym that they have, and I've definitely made the joke before. So, but yeah. So
I think it's maybe like understandable, maybe not a big surprise, but I get being disappointed about it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I predicted it to be in there.
Really?
That was my expectation.
Oh, okay.
My expectation, there's a lot of people who play DOA who don't really play other fighting games in that same way. So I feel like it's not like, it's maybe closer to like the NRS scene or like the Tekken scene or the Caliber scene, right? Where it's like people who play that game are playing that game. And there's not like a lot of crossover with other stuff, although some, but not like a ton.
Right.
So I think it would have been cool if that scene had been able to be at Evo.
Right.
And
I mean, true story. DOA may have been the series that bred us the greatest fighting game player of all time in Sonic Fox, right? Because obviously Sonic Fox's older brother is a big DOA player, Quiggles, and I'm sure that was probably one of the first games that they played as siblings.
Oh, I bet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and here we are. So,
I don't think that it was not put in because of this core values thing.
No.
I really don't think so. It was, of course, shown at Evo Japan. We'll chat about Evo Japan, but it was shown there. There was like I wasn't actually watching at the time, but there's like some fiasco, I guess, and the models were getting booby. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, slapping each other.
Oh, and they were showing the part of the game where like the dudes like has face and legs crotch. Whatever. I don't know how important that is to like deciding what game is at Evo or not. I really feel like that's like
it's kind of a funny situation because like that happened, and so now everyone's gonna say that that's the reason, and it's furthering the meme even further at this point in time. But I don't think that that's the cause of it.
I really don't. Yeah. I mean they had it at Evo Japan. Like
right.
I feel like that's. Even if it didn't go that great from like Evo's perspective, I guess that's still showing that like they were taking it seriously. So I don't feel like I feel like it's not the case that they would just end some business relationship. Like think about this from like a business lawyerly perspective. Say you have some agreement to have DOA in there. Presumably Evo's getting licenses from developers at this point, publishers at this point. You don't take a step as drastic as to like end a business relationship over something like that. I really don't think so. Anyway, that's my guess.
Right.
I feel like the reason it's not there is probably more that they just didn't expect as many entrants as other games. Maybe they just didn't think that sort of, it has a history, although I think that's been changed now, but it has a history of not being as competitive a game as others, right? That's kind of in the past, but there's often still this perception that it's like that, that it's not as competitive. So I think it's probably more due to like the scene and views of the game than it is anything else.
That's interesting. Someone says that they're trying to set it up so that Evo Japan has some exclusive games. That would be an interest.
Yeah, I think that'd actually be kind of cool.
Like if they had just DOA and Guilty Gear,
KOF was there?
Yeah, KOF was there. That would be kind of interesting, actually. I actually would not mind that, actually, because I mean that's like us saying that they need the third Evo for Evo Classic, right?
Right.
So move Japan like down 2 months so that we don't have to freeze to death in Japan, and then like have Evos every 3 months.
50 degrees.
Yeah, I know it wasn't even that cold this year. It wasn't even cold at all. So, but like if they had an Evo every 4 months, so they had Evo, Evo Classic, Evo Japan. I think that would actually be kind of cool.
I think so too.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Anyway, those are the big games that didn't make it. There's some other stuff that didn't, but those are probably the most important ones. They also mentioned the Evo Community Championships. Is what you're kind of talking about when it comes to running classic games. It would be really cool if multiple people running multiple games showed up and did that. I think that'd be really great. And I'm happy that they are as open to that as they are. Obviously, they recognize that they're not running all the games that are available, so that's a way to deal with it.
And the fact that they are taking the time to make medals for the games, and they said they're going to try to make it even bigger. I mean, the thing is, like, Mark Mann's on the Evo staff now, right? He just joined maybe like 3 years ago or something like that, 2 years ago. You remember Anime Evo, all the side tournaments, they always ran them all at the Mad Catz booth, right?
Right.
Mark Mann always was really out there for a lot of those communities out there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this Evo Community Championships is like spearheaded completely by Mark Mann, and I trust him to do a really cool thing with that and really include them. They opened a brand new stream last year. They had one more stream channel last year that they didn't have previously, just for these side tournaments, and I thought that was cool. And yes, there were issues with it. Marvel ran super late, and I know a lot of people were frustrated with that. They finished on time, because they were like, finish by this time so you can beat. So they did, and then they didn't even make it to the top 8 until late at night. There were issues. It was the first year. I mean, it's always been famously said that it takes like 2 years for the idea to really kind of solidify itself. Last year was the first year. This is the second year here.
Okay.
I feel like that this could be a great year for the side tournaments. And one of the reasons why I want people to show up and do these side tournaments is because I really want that to be as big of a thing as possible. I want the side turns, Anime Evo, all that stuff. Even last year for Gundam, Bandai Namco gave $1,000, for a prize pool and stuff like that. So, if we can make the community thing as big and as official of a thing as possible and as successful as possible, I think that would be awesome. So, again, positivity, yay. I mean,
all right.
The way it is. So,
speaking of things that they're improving this year, there will be free water and lower priced bottled water.
Dude, I saw a tweet from Dacid Bro, and I retweeted it because he was like, that could not have been easy to pull off.
Yeah.
And I know everybody has been going off on Evo about like, oh, water, you guys didn't have water, blah, blah. It's not Evo's fault. It is 100% a Vegas thing. If you go to Vegas and you go to any gift shop, the water, I spent $10 last year at Capcom Cup for 2 bottles of water. It was $10 for 2 bottles of water at the gift shop. Okay, it is not an Evo thing. It is absolutely a Vegas thing. Okay, so that's just the way it works. So it was pretty crazy. And I can't use sink water for my CPAP. I have to use the bottled water. So like I had to.
It's the only reason I'm not ripping on you right now.
Yeah, I had to do it. it. So but that's just the way it works in Vegas. That's how it works. When I was at Capcom Cup, I couldn't get any water. I heard the trick was to have a cup and go to the Starbucks and like ask for water. Like that was apparently the secret tech. That was the secret tech. But outside
bring one of these guys.
Yeah, I know, right? So again, the fact that Evo actually has bottled waters for less and potentially free water, like I think they must have had to pull something.
Yeah.
They must have had to have just been
couldn't have been easy.
Yeah, it could not have been easy. Because to be honest, if that's the case, then I mean, it better only be inside the venue because then everybody else will just go to Evo to buy water.
Then maybe they'll enter next year. Get more entrance that way. It's like a secret advertising.
Yeah, people walking around. Let me buy some. Buy a day pass so I can go get some cheap water and enjoy some fighting games at the same time, dude.
Genius.
Oh man.
Genius. Look, you can't just go off the strip, right? It's not that easy. You can, but to get there it costs money. Are you renting a car, or are you going to get a Lyft or a taxi or something? Like it costs money. So
it's in the summer in the blistering 100.
It's hard to walk there.
Yeah.
There are definitely other shops that are like not in the hotels that you can walk to that are not that far away. There's like a Walgreens and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? But certainly when I was a younger man and my friends and I would go to Vegas, like 10 of us at a time, we would definitely all go off strip and just buy 1,000 beer bottles and whatever. We did it off strip, right? For sure. But if you're not going to buy in bulk in that way, if it's like you as a one person are there for 2 days, it's not practical.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's cool about water. Now the Sunday lineup.
Yes. Okay.
The Sunday lineup they did not mention the order. Specifically said in no order.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to wait to see the entrance numbers. Because
so.
You're probably right. If Smash Ultimate gets to 5,000 people, then that's going to be the last game. It has to be, right? It has to be. So.
Yeah, the demand is too obvious at that point. Mm-hmm. They will be Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, Smash Ultimate, and I can't believe it, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle.
You can't escape from crossing
I'm
fate.
so happy you got
You can't escape from crossing fate, baby.
My God.
Oh, man.
I'm so happy about that.
I mean, to be fair, I know that they've always kind of thrown the anime game at the earliest slot. So I think BB Tag is going to be at the earliest slot because it's also the most time-friendly for Japan. Right.
Okay.
So I feel like putting BB Tag is a kind of at the early morning is kind of a strategic thing, right?
Yeah.
And then as a result, you only have 3 games left: Street Fighter V, Tekken, and Smash Brothers. It's like guaranteed.
Like those are the 3 biggest games for sure. Like you know in advance now that those are going to be the 3 biggest games,
right?
For sure.
But again, Dragon Ball would have been an interesting one to start at the beginning of the day as well instead of BB Tag, right? But if they're trying to save time on Sunday, you know, then you're not putting DVFZ.
It's true. Yeah, look, I'm in the first place. Want to mention that I'm very happy that there's only 4 games on Sunday rather than 5. Last year I couldn't make it to Evo in person, so I was in New York at a wedding, and being on East Coast time, trying to watch it it's
brutal.
Yeah, right. I mean I fell asleep during Street Fighter V.
Right.
Most of the top 8 I missed, so that sucks. It's just I couldn't be up at 2:30 in the morning. I just you know it's very difficult.
God, what's wrong with you, dude? 2:30 is like the prime hour, right? So I know.
Horrible.
I mean, because
no, it really did suck. So I'm happy that it's like that, and I also know, having been at Evo, that to be there at 8 in the morning is also tough. If you're like in there, you want to watch. One year I commentated MK11 at top 8 at 8 a.m.
Right.
Not easy, both because, like, you know...
You want to party on Saturday.
Well, you know, it'd be nice to hang out, but, like... But even aside from that, even if I'm not partying, 8 a.m. is, like, on the margins for me. Like, I'm awake, but I'm not, like, super alert.
And not a lot of people are watching
Very few people in the audience.
Right, which
Very
kind
few
of
people in the
sucks,
audience,
right?
which sucks as well. So, to have that at 8... Oh, and also, I've been there as just a fan. I went for the last year of Marvel 3 with some friends, and that was cool. I'm glad that I did that, but again, it was not easy to wake up. Not many other people did, even though it was the last time we all expected it would be the last time it'd be there. It just was not easy. So for it to be at 9 a.m. instead, that 1 hour difference, I think, does make a big difference.
Right. And weirdly enough, like, Street Fighter V being the last game last year was actually hurt. It hurt being the last game because, like you said, you couldn't even stay up.
I couldn't watch it anymore.
You couldn't watch it anymore. So, you know, not that I'm saying that I feel like if Ultimate were last, it would get hurt because now we're 4 games, so that's not going to be a problem anymore. Yeah. So, hopefully, what they do is just shift it up by an hour and just remove the last game completely so that we can finish by 9-10 p.m. I mean, that's even going to be hard to finish at that time just because of the way Sundays usually go, right?
Yeah.
But still, if it can finish at that time, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
So to me, I feel like the Sunday lineup makes sense outside of, obviously, of course, the probably more confusing than Dragon Ball is Mortal Kombat 11. Right?
You know, yes, it would be great. I'm personally disappointed that it's not there. Not surprised, though. Not surprised. And it's what you referenced earlier. It's the gore, right? Like, that's the Sunday day is the day that if there's going to be TV, it's that day, and people are going to be coming there just to spectate, right? It's a bit of a different crowd, I would suspect, than the people who are going there specifically to compete, who will be there on Saturday. So I think that makes sense. I wish it were there on Sunday, but I get it. It's a very bloody game. And they have a more sort of public-friendly atmosphere, or intention at least, on Sunday than they do the rest of the weekend. So I get it.
Right. And plus another thing, too, is I've said this for the previous few years already, and maybe they can keep doing this, but I remember last year at CEO, you know, they tried to do stuff on, you know, they had some of the stuff run on Saturday in the ring. So they had like a Saturday finals thing. Obviously, it didn't work out too great for CEO because I know a lot of people didn't watch and didn't show up to those events because they were still the main ballroom. But if Evo can run a final Saturday in the main ballroom like they did last year, I think that's great. I actually felt like BB Tag was super cool at Evo that year when it was on that main stage. In fact, I remember getting footage. It was super loud in there, and everybody was going wild for it. So, like, turning the Saturday finals not into a consolation, but into being last on Saturday is actually one of the prime spots, I think is great. So if they put MK11 at the end, or even Dragon Ball FighterZ at the end, you know, if they put those two games like at the end on Saturday and really kind of play up the Saturday finals thing, I think that would be a cool new tradition, because it would also make Saturday have that special feel too, instead of just being pooled. So.
I think that's like a nice goal that's unlikely. To like make people think that it's not a slight rather than
yeah, I mean,
you know, I don't know, I'm not sure. It is certainly a nice goal to do, and I hope that they do take some steps toward that.
The nice thing about BB Tag last year was that because it was so hype and because it was in the main ballroom, it got more foot traffic viewers. Whereas when you're in the stadium, I feel like you don't get that as much. Like a lot of people will go there. True. Like the Melee fans aren't going to, I mean, the Ultimate Smash fans aren't going to be sitting there the whole entire day waiting for the other games and stuff like that, right? They're probably just going to go in for Ultimate when it's time, right? And so I bet you some Smash fans even stopped to watch BlazBlue just because they heard how hype it is, and they're like, what's going on? You know, kind of things like that.
Oops,
so,
that's a lot of cat hair.
You know, oh yeah, she is. It's warm today, so she is shedding.
Got it. What I really hope is not going to be the case is what happened with Injustice 2, which was that the game...
this whole time we've had Gerald Abraham as the guest here. That's my bad. He's not even here.
Nope, he's not. For Injustice 2, the top 8 happened on Saturday, and as it was starting, we didn't yet know, as the commentators, who was in top 8.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was still running. Literally, the players were being decided in the back. The top 16 was not on stream.
Okay.
The players literally qualified and then had to sprint, actually run over to where the actual top 8 was.
Okay.
So that was badly done, and I really hope that kind of thing does not happen again. I
think that you should bring that up to Wizard just to make sure
I have
that.
Talked about it in the past.
Okay.
I don't know how it went last year because I wasn't there, but I hope that kind of thing did not happen.
Okay.
Anyway, I guess maybe I'll chat about it again just to like
reiterate, because that's actually a really good point.
It sucked.
That's a really
it
good
sucked
point.
for everybody.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. But there you go. That's your lineup for Evo this year. 9 games.
Look, obviously there's disappointment with some games not being there and the weird lineup, but overall, I think this is a super solid lineup.
They're all good games. Well,
we don't know.
I know
about
8 of them are good games.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily.
I really like 7 of them.
Seven of the games. 7 of the games
I
we
should
know.
Stop talking.
7 of the games we know are good. Because I know you're excited about MK11, not out yet, so
sure.
We don't know.
It might suck.
Know yet.
I don't know.
It might. I mean, the game may come out and one character might just be accidentally broken.
You're totally right,
and
dude.
then
it's
we
possible.
end up with 7 out of 8 Tanyas in top 8.
We could definitely have 7 Tanyas.
It's like that could happen, right?
It's true.
So we don't know just yet. 7 out of 9.
It's a
7
good
out
save
of
right
9.
there, James.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, there you go. What do you think about the So first of all, I really like that they just said 9 games at the start. Of the reveal stream, because in the past they've played this whole game of are there more games?
Right,
it was continuing, and it just kind of drags out. And I don't think that this is the kind of thing that's like nice to do in.
Actually, you're kind of right on that.
People are a little bit too invested, I feel, to have is there gonna be another, to have this whole song and dance. So good job on recognizing that and having it a little bit more out in front and just immediate. Here's what the games are.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
But look, overall the lineup I think is super solid, super strong this year. Everybody has that one game that they wish was in the lineup for their own personal taste.
Of course.
Right? I wish Guilty Gear was still in there. I would have put Guilty Gear. So Samurai Shodown could be taken out for Guilty Gear. It could be taken out for Melee. It could be taken out for, Marvel. It could be taken out for whatever. DOA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, overall, despite the fact that I would change the lineup personally, I think this lineup is actually pretty fantastic.
It is a good one.
And I'm excited for Samurai Shodown. I have a soft spot for Samurai Shodown 2, right? Obviously, I played 5 for the first time, but 2 and the series as a general, there's just something really cool about the game.
Sure. I'm not opposed to having a Sam show in. It's just I don't feel that a game should be there if it hasn't been played before. Like when again, last year when they announced BB Tag, I thought that was the wrong call. Even when they announced Pokkén had already been in the arcades.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were just announcing it afresh, as if it, I really feel that they should.
I have to do something from an Uncensored episode here really quick because I'm going to. Sorry for the noise here, because people from the Uncensored will know what I'm trying to do here. Yes, here it is.
It's from 2010. You used to be able to buy these. Every year they were different.
I need my tinfoil hat theory here again. So
wow.
I have my tinfoil hat theory. It's time for tinfoil James. Oops. Tinfoil hat theory James. This is from an Uncensored episode that I've had before. This is my...
Definitely could have muted the mic. That's true.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so this is my tinfoil hat theory. Is that every year I do feel like that Evo tries to pick one game that they hope will get less entrants, so that they can actually not have 9 games of like craziness. I think they failed last year with BB Tag. They probably didn't expect that many people.
It turned out good.
The fact that Pokkén was there a few years ago
Yeah.
and like Samurai Shodown, I really think that there was a logic to have a game with fewer entrants so they can finish it on Friday. So that the Friday game could finish on Friday. That is my tinfoil hat theory right there.
KOF 14.
KOF 14, etc., etc. That is my belief that every year they always try. I know, I made this in like 5 minutes, okay? It's
I feel like you needed a little bit more coverage down on the
yeah,
sides
yeah,
here.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll extend the hat a little bit more. So, yeah. But that's my theory, is that they try to have one game with less entrants in there. So they throw in a game like that just to make sure that they have a game that they can run out as a Friday finals. So I think that's my theory on why Samurai Shodown made it over some of the other games. DOA could have also been there too. So yeah, okay, enough with the tinfoil hat. It's not working.
You almost took down. Oh, boy.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, it's like a spaceman's yarmulke. I agree.
Yeah, it is the spaceman's yarmulke.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So a little antennae there.
Yeah.
Do you need a wider brim? You know what people with yarmulkes do is they have little hairpins that they.
Yeah.
That's how it sticks on.
I know. I would have prepared a lot more if I had remembered to try to pull that out, and I didn't realize I was going to pull out the tinfoil hat that I made. So yeah.
Jews in space.
Yeah. Man. Okay. Anyways, there's a preview of some Uncensored antics that I have.
Got it.
Anyway,
yeah, that's the Evo reveal. Anything else to say about that for now?
I guess just because it's part of the topics. I mean, what did you think of the way that Samurai Shodown looked? Like anything that stuck out to you?
It looked like Street Fighter 4-ish. It looked, not overwhelming.
Jubei is in the game.
I didn't.
Yes. Okay. I have my main character already, so my main character's in the game. That's all I'm happy about. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that impressed. I knew that Earthquake was going to be in it, but it was cool to see him moving around. I guess I don't know.
My cat's looking at the tinfoil hat.
I wasn't wowed by it, but that's not to say that I won't like the game. I was not wowed by BB Tag the first time I saw footage of that. I thought it looked like garbage. Right. I just did not.
Which was funny because I didn't think it looked that bad.
I thought it looked bad.
Okay.
I still think graphically it looks bad, but whatever. It doesn't matter that much.
I mean, the funny thing about it is everyone keeps talking about how I always need to pick the girl in the game, and I think that just comes straight from Cammy only. Yeah. But I've discovered right now that and this is the anti-David, I apparently seem to really like badass sword characters. So Johnny, Jubei, and Bishamon, right? I
mean, I get okay, swords are the commonality, but they're so different.
Yeah. It's not generic sword guy, right?
No. Yeah, right. But, those are all. Right. I'll even give you Johnny. Even Johnny is an interesting character.
Right, and even in Mortal Kombat, Kenshi was kind of interesting to me.
Unique-ish
right?
sword guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
So sure. I seem to really like maybe not even swords, but samurai swords. Now that I think about it, they all have samurai swords. Even Kenshi's so it's not sword dude. Mm-hmm. It's actually maybe I just like samurais. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Moment of self-realization.
But I
right
mean,
there.
look, Johnny is like seriously.
Johnny
the
is
coolest
Johnny
kid.
is cool.
He's the coolest.
I
character.
do think that swords tend to be boring.
Yeah.
And same with guns and whatnot, like bows and arrows.
Like if it's Hyde and you and you know.
Those are the least interesting
Right.
characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, Johnny does look cool. I will give you Johnny.
Dude, I love Viking
I'll give
too.
you Johnny.
God,
Viking is cool also, but she's not the same.
Dude,
She's,
I do like samurai
has a
swords.
sword,
now
but
that I think
she's so
about it,
different. I don't know.
I wanted to play Yuzuriha. You
That's
know.
true. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a samurai sword
Wow.
guy. Okay, there we go.
You
Discovery.
figured it out. 25 years later, you figured
It's
it out.
so random, dude. It's so weird. Okay, that's true. I don't play Yoshimitsu. Maybe it's time.
Yeah, that's right. You got Killick. It's quite different.
Oh yeah. Killick is different. So, anyways, okay.
Anyway, I wasn't like super impressed, but that's not to say it won't be a good game.
I just hope, because the thing about it is when you show a trailer, you're gonna show the flash.
Yes.
So it's like Nakaruru doing
Yeah,
super into it, super. But Samurai Shodown has always been about.
Yeah. Shooting way up into the sky. Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. If it's not like that, I'll be sad.
It didn't look like that. But
Right, but like I said, that's trailer antics right
no,
there.
for sure.
That's trailer antics. So I hope it actually, and I hope people appreciated my Samurai Shodown radio play there.
it was good. It does sound like that. Yeah.
Ikunde! So!
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
All
go. Anyways. Victory.
Totally, yeah.
Jubei is the best. He's so badass.
I don't really have a main character in that series.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe take a little break.
Yeah. Let's take a break.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about Evo Japan. And I don't know how long that's going to take us. There's a lot to talk about
There's
there
a lot
as well.
to talk about because there's
We'll
also
see.
Japan to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get to
okay.
that very shortly. Stick around.
This
man.
widget URL is outdated. All right, let's blank out. That's the subscription thing.
Okay.
You know, the Tasty Steve flexing
Oh, yeah.
and
Subscribe.
stuff like that. So that's
Subscribe
all
and
gone.
James will do the flex.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Okay. I'm
Yeah?
down. I'm
James
down with
will
it.
do the flex.
I will do the flex. Okay. Be right back, guys. So you got an email today about that, about the widget
Streamlabs
going
thing.
that. Yeah, okay.
just early
I
today.
haven't checked my email today, but I don't check my email very regularly often, which I need to fix. So I need to do that a lot more. So, and get ready, stream for the crunch.
All right.
Oh dang! Shoegazer Jimmy already registered for Evo.
Dang,
So
nice
what
work.
what joystick are you bringing this time, Shoegazer? Do you have any plans for another cool joystick? They had the Bedman stick last year, which
Oh,
was
so
super
cool.
awesome. They
We
had the
got a-
Soundwave stick before.
Woo!
Woo! Oh, Zoidberg is the 1,000 donation.
Shout outs, bub.
Woo, 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 woo.
Nice.
He gets the special woo as always. Oops, I have the volume too high up. It is peaking again. I have to remember not to put it that high up. All right. Hey, and Shoegazer has subscribed again for 31 months.
Dang.
Shoegazer with the support. Dang, that's cool. No, not
man.
a Dorito, but it is a nacho chip.
I went to, what was it called? Tacos Por Favor. It's a Mexican place around these parts.
No wonder I find the chips so good.
Yeah, they're all right. I feel like they're a little undersalted today.
Oh, yeah. So
It's like a little less than usual.
when I go to Tacos Por Favor and I eat there, I
Yeah.
always have a little salt packet
Okay,
on the
yeah.
side that I'll sprinkle onto the chips.
I often find that chips are too salty for me, but this is one where it's like...
Yeah, so Tacos Por Favor usually has less salt
Okay,
on them.
all right, duly
They
noted.
generally have less salt. Whenever I eat their chips, I have to salt them myself. But like I've discovered I'm not much of a potato chip person, that I'm really just about nacho chips. For me, potato chips is Pringles or nothing, right? But outside of that, it's like all nacho chips. Like
Tortilla.
once I start eating tortilla chips, I can't stop eating these things.
Uh-oh. Well, how many you got
That's
in the bag
why.
there?
That's why I kept grabbing your chips.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. It was subconscious. I've always said that if
that's
I have
cool.
a bag of Doritos, I will eat that entire bag of Doritos unless I consciously like put it away. But if the bag is sitting in front of me, I have literally, as a teenager, gone through an entire bag of Doritos in one sitting, and I didn't realize it happened. You know, it just happened.
Duly noted. Yes, EMP, pot, split, collusion. I'm aware of the MK reveal happening at midnight tonight, Pacific time.
Midnight tonight?
Midnight tonight, yes.
Oh, no.
No, midnight tonight, for real. For real.
Is it really midnight?
Yes, it is.
It's not noon tomorrow?
There's also a Kombat cast tomorrow.
Oh.
But there is a reveal tonight at midnight.
That's odd. Why would they reveal something at midnight?
I have absolutely no idea. Pacific time, midnight tonight. So that is to say in 4 hours.
In midnight, they're going to reveal the sexy fighter costume pack.
That would be funny, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Nightwolf.
Oh,
I don't know if it's Nightwolf.
That actually makes a lot of sense, though,
Some people say that on
yeah,
Twitter. But we'll talk about this when we're not on break, because not everybody's listening right now. Anyway, it's back.
I don't drink Mountain Dew, no. I've never drank Mountain Dew. Although I did drink DNL, which was 7-Up's version of Mountain Dew.
DNL?
Yeah, because it was turning 7-Up upside down. Like, I'm not even making this up.
What?
Yeah, 7-Up upside down is DNL.
Do you mean if you take the actual letters themselves? You oh, that's so dumb. All
yeah, right. I did drink that, which was their version of Mountain Dew, but nobody even knows what that is. Oh, someone actually remembers DNL. Wow, that's actually funny.
Dang, you even have to do lowercase d, lowercase n, capital L.
Yep.
What a pile of garbage. All right, let's come on back. Come on back.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay. We're back up. We're back up. That's so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I say, because I didn't. Stupid crash. Okay.
Okay, well, let's get back to the show.
You said that, yeah, you were saying that I yelped really loudly.
He yelped super loudly. That is true. That is, yeah, it was
yeah,
because
as soon as it died, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he was joking, trying to, I don't know, make some crack. But it was too loud, and I looked over and it made more sense. Anyway, let's get back to this television program. We're going to be talking about Evo Japan, which happened a week and a half ago now. We were both there. That's part of why. Well, that is the reason why we didn't do a show the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
on one Tuesday we were traveling, and on the next you were still in Japan.
I stuck around for a few extra days just to run back Tokyo, basically, and yeah. So
we went to Japan. What'd you think about before we talk about the tournament itself? Talk to me about Japan.
It's interesting. I know when Evo Japan was announced in Fukuoka, a lot of people were worried about not having it be in Tokyo, et cetera, et cetera. I know I'm a little bit spoiled because I flew to Tokyo afterwards, but I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed Fukuoka. I really enjoyed the fact that I got all of the cool things that I love about Japan, about all the 7-Elevens and everything like that, and just food everywhere. We'll tell a whole story about that later on, but but it just wasn't as crowded. And sure, maybe there's not as many crazy things to do like there is in Tokyo, no Sky Tree Tower, no whatever. But we visited the Nanzo-in Temple, cool. which had the largest bronze statue in the world potentially,
giant
right?
reclining Buddha, super cool.
Built on the side of the mountain. Very similar to the Sagat one, right? So,
it's the same. It's the same idea. I mean, there's many reclining Buddha statues in the world, but that one is a big one, bronze.
We went to the Mairuzu Castle remains, which was super cool as well. We had a lot of beautiful views out there and everything like that. There are shrines in every city block. Like, just while you're walking, it's like, oh, let's go visit this shrine. Oh, let's go visit this thing and stuff. And so I didn't feel like there was a lack of things to do in Fukuoka. We even had, like I said, the food experiences we had were amazing. So one of the easy ones to talk about is the fact that Fukuoka is right at the ocean. Yes. There was a market right next to us.
We were, the Evo venue was a 5-minute walk from the wharf, from right on the coast. And there's a fish market there, and there's a dude who is constantly making sushi. He's constantly carving up fish that was caught like that day or yesterday, like immediately beforehand. And constantly laying out new sushi, and you just go there and you pick it up on this big counter that's just full of whatever kind of sushi you want. You pick up whichever little individual pieces you want with some tongs, and then it was, I think, maybe 1,000 yen for like 15 or 20 pieces of sushi.
It was ridiculous.
It was crazy cheap.
David was like, as he always does, I'm the guy who gets what I know I like. David is the guy who always will experiment, right? So you were getting fish eggs, you're getting natto, roe, here, this, whatever. You got everything that you could except for shellfish, obviously, right? And so I'm just like, we're just sitting there, and I know we're both thinking like, okay, so this one's probably more expensive, but whatever, we got to try it, right? We bring the thing up there. The lady's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 times 10, and we're like, they're all the same price, and we got like probably 15 pieces of like some of the best sushi.
So good.
It was
Melt
fresh.
in your mouth.
I'm not a sushi guy, and even I could tell when I was eating it, it was just like,
Super
it
good.
was so clean. Like, I felt like it was refreshing to eat it. And it was like $11. Yeah. For like 15 pieces of some of the most amazing sushi that we've ever had. Was really crazy.
Yeah.
If it's in that same venue next year, if Evo Japan is in Fukuoka next year, I recommend everybody who travels there to go to this market. And it's a little confusing because everything's labeled in Japanese. So it's going to be kind of an experiment there. Yeah. But like, it's hard to go wrong. It was like, they even had a fried fish. So I got like a fried fish there because that's just more of my taste and everything. I like fried foods, and thus probably me being more overweight and stuff like that, right? But, you know, dude, even that thing was amazing. That fried breaded fish was ridiculous. Like, it was some of the best fried breaded fish that I've ever had. It was so good.
Quality of fish was very high.
Yeah. And so I enjoyed Fukuoka.
I agree with you. I really loved seeing the temple. There's a couple of dudes in this chat who were there with us walking around. Very cool to see that there were like little grottos in the side of the hill. It was all built into the side of a mountain. A little stream running through it, extremely peaceful looking. All of these ancient statues all over the place there. Cool. Also, we met some people from Russia, some of the Russian FGC
They were at the Nanzoin Temple,
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, from the Moscow area, from Siberia as well, from a couple other places. It was super cool to meet them.
It was the freakiest thing because, like, I was trying to take a picture, and these guys started walking by, clearly not from Japan, right? And I was about to take a picture. I looked at them, and I was like, you know, gesturing to them because they looked European. So I was like, maybe they don't understand English or whatever like that. So I was like letting them like, oh, you can go ahead of me. And the guy was like, it's okay, James, you can take the picture. And I was like, what? Like, freaked me out.
Like this temple's not like in the city. We had to take a train to get out there. A good half-hour ride on the train.
Right.
So we're in the middle of Japan, of rural Japan, seemingly. Yeah, that was great.
But apparently they were on the train there, and they were on the same car as the Hado, Rick Thayer.
Okay.
And they said they introduced themselves to him, and they recognized him by the photo of his avatar on Twitter.
That's funny.
Just because the beard was just so distinct, you know? That's actually really funny.
That was really nice. And then, you know, the food is just great wherever you go in Japan, seemingly. I've been to 2 cities. What do I know? But the 2 cities have been great so far. The 7-Elevens, like you mentioned, fantastic. I wouldn't feel bad about just eating breakfast there every morning. One night,
dude, my favorite story.
I had 1,000 liters to drink of sake on Sunday, basically. Because at this fish market, you can buy milk cartons full of sake, right? That's how they're sold. So I obviously wanted a milk carton of sake, and I did share a good chunk of it, but I also drank way too much. And so I didn't want to go hang out with people afterward because other people were going to go get food and whatnot, and I was crashed, basically. So on the way home, we're like stumbling home. I'm stumbling home. You're awake. And I needed to go into a 7-Eleven to get like some kind of drunk food. Right. And I was so happy that existed in that moment, because if that had been where I live in like a populated area of Los Angeles. You know, what do I walk into a 7-Eleven at 2 in the morning?
Dog,
it's some horrible crap.
Hot dog's been sitting there for a few hours.
No, I got some really good noodles with some good chicken. Oh, believe me, that was why I lived in the morning.
Yeah. And
not very good sake.
And it was really interesting. This is probably one of my favorite stories from Evo Japan, or just this whole Japan trip. Was there was one night, I think it was the first night after Evo was done, we were walking back to our hotel at about 11 p.m. and we hadn't had dinner yet, all right? And this is going to sound weird, but I'll tell you this right now. Japan is obsessed with their Italian food. Mm-hmm. When we were in Tokyo last year for Evo Japan, we noticed that there was like an Italian restaurant like every block that we were on.
So, as common seemingly as native Japanese food.
Right.
It was everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And you had a pasta dish at Evo Japan last year that you said was like the best thing that you had the whole entire time that was there. Good. And so we were like, let's see if we can find an Italian place, because let's just do it, right? And I was down for it because, you know, I love Italian food, right? So I literally looked up on Yelp, and there was one random Italian place that was open till 3 a.m. So we're like, let's go. So we turned around, walked back a little bit, and it was literally in an alley. Like,
right,
that's how hard it is to find these things. It's like in an alley in the alley. And I always kept joking, in America, you go down an alley and hope you don't die. And in Japan, you go down an alley and you find the craziest things. We literally walked past the restaurant and the waiter opens the door and looks at us, right? And I guess this is their practice. They look for people looking for food, right? But when he opened the door, there was no sign up there. Yeah. And so I literally looked at him and was like, Libre? Because that was the place that we were looking for. And he was like, yes. Right? And so we walked in there, and it's just this small, tiny little place, one table in the back. And the rest was bar seats. Maybe 10 people total could fit in this place. And like, we sat down to eat, and the waiter, in English, was like, how did you find this place? Like, literally, how did you find this place? Because I was obviously looking for it, and I was like, Yelp. I was like, and Japan doesn't use Yelp as much as America does, by the way. So, but, and then, like, the next thing he does is hands us 2 menus, and it's all in Japanese. And he looks at us and he's like, we have no English menus.
Spoken English.
Which is the craziest part is this dude is speaking to us in English, and he literally asks us, like, what do you want? Like, he's like, we have no English menus. What are you guys looking for? And I was like, just like spaghetti? And so he's like, okay, tomato sauce, cream sauce, or pesto sauce? And I was like, tomato sauce. And you were like, tomato sauce. And then he was like, anything you guys are allergic to, anything you can't eat. And I was like, I can eat whatever. And David was like, can't eat shellfish. Can't eat pork. And as soon as he finished saying that, the guy just takes the menus away, turns to the chef, just starts speaking in Japanese. He's like, da-da-da-da-da, make this, to make
this. The chef who's like right where James is compared to we are. Right?
Like the guy is cooking right there. There's no kitchen in the back. Like, he's literally cooking right there. And so we're sitting there waiting for our food. And these 3 guys who are working at the bar, there's a guy, the cook, and there's a girl there working. They're drinking with the party that's next to us. They're just having a great time.
It looks a lot of fun.
And it was such an awesome, like, homely environment, very cozy environment. The guy even came and asked us, he's like, what are you guys doing here? Like, where are you visiting from and stuff? Like, he didn't ask it like, what are you doing here?
No, it was super cool.
He was just like, what are you guys here for? We told him about the tournament and everything like that. We asked him how he knew how to speak English, and he apparently lived in Australia for like 3 years or something like that.
Wow.
And then he brought out the pastas to us, and it was so fantastic.
I mean, it was crazy good. Yeah, it was awesome.
Like, our dishes looked nothing to say. He has had a meat sauce with beef and stuff in it, and all this fish on there, and mine was this dish with all this pork. And keep in mind, like I said, I'm a terrible person, so I don't eat a lot of vegetables. My dish had a bunch of vegetables and onions in there, and it just didn't matter. I ate that thing up. The sauce was, it was so good. The sauce was amazing, and honestly, like, if it's in Fukuoka next year, we're 100% going back. We're 100% going back.
I think his name was Tim. That's how he introduced us.
What was his full name again? It was like
I just remember Tim because I was like, okay, Tim.
It was a full Japanese name, but no, Tom was in there. He called himself Tom. Okay. He called himself Tom. Yeah. But it was awesome, and I loved it. It was like such an awesome experience, dude.
Whenever as you're walking through Fukuoka, and it was the same way in Tokyo. There's so many restaurants that are just so small, right? It was very rare to see something like a big old U.S. style restaurant where 100 people can fit there. I don't know if I saw any of that. So there's more of these small ones, and there's a very cool experience in there.
And it's interesting because while we're walking around Japan, every time you enter these restaurants, there's a lot of restaurants that seat 5 people. And it's really interesting to me because I wondered to myself, I was like, how do so many of these restaurants stay alive? Because
the economics of it.
But then I was like, but that's probably how. Because they're so small, the cost of operations is probably so small. Yeah. And in Japan, the culture of just walking around and going, what's this place? It looks interesting. And walking in is what you do in Japan, because I saw native Japanese people doing that 24/7 the whole time we're there. And I think that's why the guy pokes his head out the door to pull people in, because that's what people are doing. They're walking around and stuff.
That was cool.
True story. On the Tuesday after, and I really wished you were there with us at the time, we walked around Harajuku after visiting the Meiji Temple and Shibuya area. It was me, Corey Bell, and Jobin. We were just walking around, and the whole time we're like, let's find a place to eat. And so we just walked around, passed by this place, back by this place, Finally, we went to this one ramen place, and we're like, let's just try this ramen place. Turned out to be a chicken broth ramen place. So good, dude.
I
bet.
It
was so good. And like that's why I wish you were there, because I know you can't eat pork ramen.
Yeah, so in Fukuoka, it's like the home of
tonkatsu ramen.
Yeah. Pork broth.
Tonkotsu ramen,
okay.
I should say, because tonkatsu is different than tonkotsu.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's pork broth. So I didn't have any ramen the whole time I was there.
Not that Jobin. Not crazy Street Fighter Jobin. Soulcalibur, SoCal San Diego Jobin.
SoCal.
Dabbing Yoshimitsu Jobin. Different Jobin. So.
Yeah. I didn't have any ramen the whole time I was in Japan because of that. Mm-hmm. And presumably, like somewhere in the city of Fukuoka, you can find non-pork broth ramen. But it wasn't easy enough for me to do. I didn't want to go out of my way and I don't know, make people walk around. It was whatever.
Dude,
So the first meal that I had when I got home, ramen.
Did you really? Oh, that's painful. Yeah. I'll tell you this though, I did have the generic one. I had Ichiran, which is the chain version of the tonkotsu ramen.
Okay.
And I thought that was fantastic. Multiple places I went to after I was done eating the ramen, I just couldn't stop drinking the broth. The chicken broth was that way, the Ichiran was that way, and it was really, really amazing. I even managed to go to a tsukemen place in Fukuoka before I went to Tokyo that was recommended by Joe, who found that place by Arya, another player who I met last year at Evo Japan, who moved out to Japan basically. But that place was super good because they sprinkled in like powder, like some fish powder in there, so it gave it like a fish taste.
I like that.
It was like
I'm down with that.
super good. It was super good. So.
I did see a vegetarian place in the train depot. I forget the name of that big building.
Not Hakumen.
Hakata Station.
It's called a Hakumen.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a big vegetarian place in there. But it seemed rare. But again, what do I know? I wasn't there for so long. There's cat action going on.
What are you doing, Nathan?
We walked around. Also, Callisto was talking about it in the chat a little bit. We walked around the bad part of Fukuoka, which is how they were pronouncing it.
What's the bad part?
Remember we were walking around the bad part? You don't remember? Oh man, the bad part. The bad part was the basically giant 4-block square open mall where Rick thought about buying like $700 shoes.
Oh, that's the bad part?
That's the bad part.
Wait, what?
That's the ghetto. Yeah, for sure.
We weren't even going to die in those alleys, dude.
Impossible. Yeah, the hood was $1 million.
No, the $700 shoes were the very famous guy in Japan who designed shoes that Adidas signed up. I'm sure the shoe guys know exactly who we're talking about. And I'll tell you right now, the $7 shoes that he almost considered buying were actually, I would never buy them. But the coolest thing about them was that the entire sole of the bottom of the sole was 3D printed in this like interesting material that it was all webbed. And so it was really like shock absorbing and stuff like that. I still would never buy a $700 pair of shoes, but I mean, it was a nice looking pair of shoes.
I like 3D printing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's who it was. Kamurocho, I think that's who it was. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that was the ghetto.
But we also ran into the Alice in Wonderland store there too, right? In that general area.
Dude, there's this little building that sells all Alice in Wonderland related stuff, and in order to walk in there, you have to actually dip down into this tiny little door as if you're Alice, having just had the mushroom and shot yourself up. Now you're huge. Now you have to get through this little doorway, so you kind of got to scrunch through it there, you know? And one of the Tenno dudes is quite tall, you know? You had to like really get in there. Yeah,
we kept joking though that Hanzo probably could have just walked.
Yeah, he was fine. Yeah.
He wasn't with us, so we couldn't have proven that. I love you, Hanzo. Love you, Hanzo. It was
a lot of fun.
Yeah, but
so it was cool being in Japan.
Yeah,
Fukuoka was fun. It's a smaller city, of course, but it's cool.
Yeah, and then afterwards, I went to Tokyo. And,
yes.
Dude, I don't know if you want me to talk about that right now, because I could talk about that forever. I could do that on my own stream or something like that.
I mean, up to you. Did you have a good time?
Oh, dude, okay, so I'll tell you, Hey Arcade is like, if I lived in Japan, like, Hey Arcade is like solely why I would just want to move to Japan. Like, just that. 10 yen ST. Not only that, but let me tell you this. This is a change from last year to this year. They moved the ST machines, but they also built a smoke room.
Really?
On that floor of the arcade. And I was at a Taito station earlier in the week, and I came out of there smelling like an ashtray, right? But at Hey Arcade, they had a smoke room now. It was, for a non-smoker like me, was fantastic. It was like the first Japanese arcade I've ever been to that has not had that problem now.
Wow.
And the smoke room is right in front of the and the smoke room, literally the window to the smoke room is watching the ST 10 yen cabinet.
So it's for old people specifically.
Right, and it was right there. So even when the door opened, it would come out a little bit, but even that was like 10 years better than...
So you could only smoke in the room?
Yes, in that arcade. It was actually crazy. Wow. And yes, 10 yen ST. So I went to the Esports Square in Akihabara because there was the Street Fighter V tournament that day, right? But I found out there was a venue fee. It was like 1,800 yen for 2 hours to spend there. Or it was for 3 hours. 1,800 yen for 3 hours. And I was like, I can hang out here for 3 hours or I can play 180 games of ST. And I just walked away. And I went back to Hey Arcade to go play 180 games of ST. Which I didn't actually play that many because I was never on the machine for more than one game in a row.
Okay, all right.
Let me tell you something. Oh my! I mean, it wasn't even just like, hey, let's go play these locals who are like stupid. Matsun was there. Okay, best Ken in the world, maybe. Kotaka Shoten, the guy that Daigo has recently spotted, was like, this guy's amazing, and he had the first to 10 with Anakin and blew him up 10-2. He was there playing. Yu Vega, one of the best Bisons in the world, was playing there. Aoba, a claw player. You don't even have to be the best player, a claw player in the world to be a problem, right?
Fair enough.
Who else was there? Dude, like everybody. Koemon showed up, who's like the best Fei Long in the world, right? Who I met at Canada, the one that I screamed about when he did that stupid cross-up thing to Sagat, right? Like, dude, they were all there. And they're just sitting there playing, and I just looked at Matsu and I was like, is this like this every night? And he was like, almost every night. He said that a lot of the good players might have been there just because I was tweeting about it, and so a lot of people wanted to show up and stuff like that.
Dang.
But, you know, because like one of the guys there who recognized me immediately was talking to me. He's like, you should tweet about it. He's like, tweet that you're here, tweet that you're here. Wow. And I did, and then a bunch of people started showing up and stuff like that. So I don't know. But the funniest thing is
Influencer James.
I went to go meet Kotaka Shoten. Like, I asked one of the guys to introduce me to him, right? And so the guy was like, oh, Kotaka Shoten, this is James. And I went out to shake his hand. Yeah. He looked so confused.
Yeah.
He was just like...
That's funny.
Like, and it wasn't like, who are you? It was more like, why does anybody care about me?
Yeah.
Like, why is anybody trying to shake my hand? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, you know, I was like, oh, you're so cool and you're so strong and everything like that. And so we were just talking to each other a couple of times through Google Translate. You know, like that was the best we could do.
That's cool, man.
But, dude... I'll tell you this right now, and I know you joked about this. I'm 20 years too late, but goddamn, Cammy is such a terrible character.
Not great.
And like, you discover that in there, and like when you play in that arcade, it is clear that she is an order of margin worse than even Zangief. Like it is not even. I even asked Matsun. I was like, "Who's the worst character in the game?" He's like, "Cammy." It's like it's just not because they were Zangief players that were doing well, and then like
he certainly has some good matchups.
And then, dude, like Kotaka Shoten knew the secret on how to beat Cammy with Guile. And so that match is like 9-1, 8-2. Like Cammy is that character who's super good and viable up to high levels, and then as soon as you get to the top levels, she just kind of goes pew, and then it's like completely useless. So I think I beat a Zangief.
Nice work.
Oh man, poor Cammy. All it does is just like give me 3 buffs that I want to give to this character.
A little late.
Oh God.
All right, well, that was Japan. Japan is a fun place. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Hopefully there's another one and I go again. I'd like to.
Yeah, we did go to the Meiji Temple, the 3 of us, American Jobin, myself, and I did have some dango. I saw Ani asking about that on chat earlier, which is just this little like taro-ish kind of like snack thing that they just kind of cooked there. It was really good.
Nice.
It was really, really good.
I like natto a lot. I mean, it's not the first time I've had natto, but I had it more this time. Like I had it. I mean, you can get it in the U.S. too. I've had it, but for breakfast at the hotel we were staying at, you could like mix it. You could get a little packet of natto, and then you could mix it with rice and a raw egg. And I saw this other dude doing it, and he would take out the yolk itself and get rid of the white, and just mix the yolk in with the rice
interesting.
and the natto. So I did that too, and it was good. I wish that it was more. This sounds silly. I wish it was more natto-y. Like it wasn't. It was like too ricey. I had too much rice, I guess. So I need to up the natto element in it. But
I heard like the stuff that you're eating there, like there was fish and stuff like that at the breakfast, right?
Dude, they had great fish at the breakfast. Yeah. Yes,
I heard
they had miso soup.
I heard that's standard Japanese breakfast right there: fish, miso soup, natto, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's why
great
they
coffee
have it there. Yeah,
great coffee.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I think that's actually the first time I've ever had just a raw egg yolk. Have you ever had a raw egg yolk?
I mean, not like that. I
just mixed it in. I was like, I hope this is safe.
Obviously, I've poured raw egg into like a clay pot thing, so it kind of cooks in the there.
Thing,
you know,
sure.
I've done stuff like that. I've never had raw egg.
Raw egg, mix it into the rice and the
natto. Because that natto is definitely not cooking it.
I don't think so. But I don't know. So anyway, I turned out to be safe.
Yeah,
I lived. So I was like, anyway, yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Japan was cool.
Yeah.
Evo Japan, on the other hand, I like how during the Evo reveal, Markman said whatever about it to Wizard, and Wizard was like, you know, there were some challenges. Like that was the first thing he said.
Look, again, you know, one of the things is that, you know, when we talk to Wizard and Tom who are there and everything like that, you know, they're just kind of mostly overseeing it, but you know, it is mostly a different group that's running.
They license it out. Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I think one of the weaknesses of Evo Japan is that group isn't as embedded in the FGC as a lot of other groups. And you could tell. You could tell because of why I tweeted out that tweet, which was, this is how you run brackets. Don't ever, no matter how much you think it's a great idea, don't ever run all of winners and then go to loser side. As much as you think that that is a great idea, it is the absolute worst idea because the people who lose first round wait forever to play their matches, and then the person who makes it to the furthest in the winner side waits forever and a day. One of the guys, I think it was Mofu, the Balrog player, the boxer player, I should say, got to that point at like noon and didn't play his next match until like 8 p.m. Like, just don't do that. Don't ever do that.
It was really run poorly. The brackets, like you were talking about, were run poorly. That made people wait a long time. It also meant that on the stream, there were many times across the various streams that there wasn't anything on stream because there just wasn't anything ready to go. Like, there just weren't matches at that time. Or there were matches, but they were being played off stream. And although there were like stream runners who were like trying to get things going, it was, you know, they only had so much power, and the actual bracket runners were the ones who make the choices, right? So the bracket runners were not putting stuff on stream that like probably should have been on stream. The brackets were not run in pools. It was just one big open, one big bracket. So that means that that means everybody plays at the start, right? So at 1 p.m. or whenever it started, everybody has to be there.
Right.
At once, which means that you just have crowding in a way that you don't if it's a pools kind of phasing thing. That's part of why you do pools.
So, actually, I wanted to talk about that, Peter0611, because of the two comments. You said you thought they would have learned their lessons from last year, and then you asked what were the improvements. I do want to address that, in that probably the biggest improvement was, you know, one of the biggest problems last year was the venue. Too small.
Yeah.
Too small. It was crowded and it was miserable in there, right? It was, you could barely walk and et cetera. And so I feel like what the Evo Japan staff thought, and again, this is the different group, right? And I'm not talking about the Evo proper staff here.
Yeah.
The Evo Japan staff, they probably thought that that was the main problem, and that if they got a better venue, it would have been fixed. And don't get me wrong, this new venue was awesome.
Venue wasn't the problem.
Right, the venue, that was 100% a massive improvement,
cool.
Right? They even had 3 levels, like little seatings up there. All the side tournaments were on the middle level, and then everything was on the ground floor, the main tournaments and stuff like that. That was all cool, but then they ran into all these new problems, which were probably repeated from last year, but they probably thought it might have been a venue thing that caused the crowding or whatever like that. I'm not sure exactly.
I don't know
but, you know, what I'm hoping is that they learn this year from that, and so next year, if they do it again, that they will change up a lot of that stuff as well. So
there were other issues too. I mean, remember how the consoles were sharing accounts, and so that caused, I don't really know what the issue was, but like it caused it so that some consoles didn't have all the DLC,
and they would also get messages and like log out.
They logged out mid-match. That's right. That's right. Yeah. And that's obviously a big problem.
Yeah, and after it happened, I remember even talking to Wizard, and Wizard's like, "You just buy the stuff. Like, why would you do that? You know, I mean, like that's just like."
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because I even ran into one of the Evo Japan staff members at the airport flying from Fukuoka to Tokyo. I just ran into him randomly there, and I was like, "Oh, how was Evo Japan?" He was like, you know, he was like,
"Yeah."
You know,
look, I mean, there were obviously big problems with a lot of it. A lot of it. Mm-hmm. Their stream issues weren't just the organization problems. It was also the streams went out sometimes, right? Some of the equipment that they used were things that like weren't fitting with each other well, and there were problems in that way. There were just a lot of problems. Yeah. They need to change a lot.
Well,
and
it's funny because on the Capcom stream, everything felt like it was going fine.
I think the Capcom stream probably did go better than the other ones.
Yeah, because even Callisto, who was running that stream the whole time, was like, "Yeah, that seems to be pretty good."
Yeah,
you know?
I think that one stream. But then you talk to D, and there were a ton of issues on the Tekken stream. So yeah, it was just.
I'm so sad. I see you in the chat, Hi-Fi. I didn't see you this year. I didn't get a chance to say hi to Hi-Fi this year.
Yeah.
I feel terrible about that. I would have. I feel bad. Anyways.
I didn't either.
Oh, you didn't get a chance to see him either? I didn't see anyone. I didn't even see half the players. Like Gamerby, every time I see him, I like want to give that guy a big hug. He was there. I never even saw him.
I never saw Gamerby.
Yeah. I felt so terrible, dude.
But it was cool seeing some folks. I saw Junichi there. It was cool.
I didn't even get to see Junichi there.
He told me, so he said that part of why there were few players there from Tokyo and Kyoto and stuff was it's hard to travel around Japan. It's expensive, and if you don't use the expensive means like the train and flights, you have to take really long paths. So the way that he got there was actually by going to the coast, the West Coast, and then taking the ferry down, and that took 12 hours.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So shout out to him for taking that slog. That is pretty cool. But you know, that's it. Too bad that you need to do that, right? That sucks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's not Evo Japan's fault.
Yeah. A lot of the players weren't there, obviously, because Gotcha-kun was having a wedding there. You notice that everyone that had anything to do with Red Bull was not there, right? Daigo, Banchan, Gotcha-kun, those guys were all not there. So. Yeah, no worries, Hi-Fi. I really wish I had a chance to say hi. So
it's all good.
Yeah, and then also another thing that caused unintentional problems, like the poor Tenno staff was staying at a sorry.
You're catted?
Yeah. The Tenno staff was staying at a place that took a half an hour taxi to get to the venue because there was a BTS concert in Fukuoka that weekend. So all of the hotels were sold out.
Was that what the giant lines were on Sunday? There was like a venue that was right next to our venue that had huge lines.
Probably, yeah. That had to have been it then. That had to have been it. So, because they're seriously a gigantic group, like super. Right. I remember when they were here in the U.S., like everybody on my Facebook timeline, I swear to God, went to that thing. So, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that although I don't know any of the conversations in specific, there were definitely some heated words between like Evo and Tenno staff and Evo Japan staff. I really hope that does end up causing like improvements because they need big time improvements. You can't have the third Evo Japan in a row be messy. You can't do it 3 times. That's not good for Evo Japan, obviously, but it's not good for Evo either.
Right.
It's not like Evo's brand is. That's not. You don't want to mess with that. I would imagine. So I really hope that next time it's improved.
There's a lot of
and some of those things are just like obviously you just don't run the brackets that like things that you just buy the DLC rather than sharing all the things. It's like small changes, but they meant they've made big impacts this time. If you don't just make those small changes,
and I'm sure they
a lot of it goes away.
I'm sure they had. I think High Fight mentioned it in the chat earlier that they had an agreement with Challenge, so they had to use Challenge and not Smash.gg. Because Challenge, you can obviously run like the pool things, but I don't think they have the to pool thing arrows that we can do. So when we're looking at the semifinals bracket, you can just click the back arrow and stuff like that. It was so
obnoxious. So as we're commentating the top 16...
How do you really feel about it?
I hated it. That's what I did. We're trying to commentate the top 16, trying to get down to the top 8. So I'm all the time trying to figure out what was this player's path to get here. And I'm trying to like zoom back through Challenge to figure out what it was. And this thing kept on resizing itself constantly. I was just like, I tried to press like the little X, like stop it on the browser. Right. I turned off scripts, like everything I could do to make this not happen. And it just kept happening.
I'll tell you this
I couldn't
right now,
figure it was...
as a
hated it.
grid bag layout expert, that's all I did at my job at one point in time. They screwed up on the grid bag layout. Trust me. They screwed up on the grid bag layout. So, yeah.
That doesn't need to be like that either, right? Like, that could be... So there's all these unforced errors.
Dude, we went to, just to talk a little bit more about Japan, because I forgot to mention this, but like we went to Nakano Broadway. I went there last year, right? And it's like the Akihabara that's not the tourist trap. You can buy all sorts of stuff. It's like the outlet store for Akihabara, basically. So it's where you can buy things for cheaper, but your selection is less because it's the whatever they have extras, right? But we're walking around there. It was me and Slash, right? Slash 5150 Michael, and we walked by all these arcade cabinets. They're just like sitting there. It's like not even in a room. They're just like sitting there in this corner that's open air. I was like, that's interesting. They just have these cabinets here, right? And that's kind of funny. Oh, look, they have a Samurai Shodown here or whatever like that, right? And we were going to meet up with Corey and Jobin at some point in time, and they said that they really wanted to visit TRF, which is a famous Japanese arcade that's all about kusoge games, like playing kusoge games, right? That was the arcade. Was literally the one that was just sitting there in that section, because when I walked back, you saw TRF written on, and I was like, what? And like that's why I got to play Samurai Shodown 5 there and everything, and they had SNK heroines there, and while we were there, they were running a Fighting EX layer single elimination tournament. And the best thing about it is I took a picture of it and tweeted about it later, right? And like I showed the picture was the people standing there playing some Fighting EX layer, and a Japanese person retweeted it, tagged someone who must have been in the picture, and all he said was, turn around.
That's funny.
But it was so cool. Like, I didn't realize that was like the arcade. That's awesome. And it was like, this is so cool. Like, it's neat. So, yeah, but that's a whole nother story.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah. Anyways.
It was, aside from all of these problems, there was also the issue with DOA. I guess we kind of had talked about that during the Evo reveal, right? Where they were
core
doing
values
some presentation
meme, right?
on stream, and I guess I didn't see the whole thing, but the presenters were like jiggling themselves and whatever.
Well, because they were talking about basically, they kept pausing the game with characters in compromising positions.
I did. That's right.
They kept zooming in on like the characters, breasts, basically. And then when the ladies were like, "Oh, look at the jiggle physics," and they would start jiggling. One of them slapped the other in the ass and stuff like that, and they were, doing all that kind of stuff. And they cut the American stream. The Japanese stream kept going, right? So
that makes sense. I
mean, it's definitely a very big cultural difference, right? And, a lot of people have brought up very valid arguments, is that in this weird puritanical country that we have, that sex is wrong, but violence is okay, right? I mean, that's why everyone's making the memes about MK versus, DOA and everything like that. But,
I think the linking of those two things is as problematic as the fact that there are different perceptions about them.
Right. Well,
I think there's a big critique to be had there that I think people want to just accept.
Right. Oh, by the way, you're blocking your microphone a little bit that way. One thing I will say though is that I don't think that it was that so much as because of that view, Twitch has rules of not being allowed to do stuff. And so you've got to unplug it on the American stream and make a statement about it, because Twitch could obviously just be like, well, we're banning this channel because of inappropriate content, right? If they just get reported, they're in trouble.
Right.
Again, I know I stick up for Evo a lot, and I know a lot of people are mad at Evo or think that they're hypocritical or whatever, but I mean, there's a logic to it, right? You got to be careful of Twitch streaming services and getting banned and shut down for that reason, right? And so, yeah, they pulled the English stream. They left the Japan stream up because obviously it's not as much of a concern for them. So it's these kind of things, and it's unfortunate. And it's become a meme. Everyone talks about it. Of course, everybody mentioned it on stream afterwards. You guys
are trying to kill the joke.
Yeah, basically
trying to run it into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that from what I saw of the presentation, I thought it was like silly and like not that big of a deal. But I get why they wouldn't like it. I understand that. I also thought that the tweet that Mr. Wizard put out about core values, not necessary. Also, not a big deal. I don't know. I didn't think that it was like...
I saw that tweet.
Either way, I was like, I don't know.
When I saw the tweet, I was like, it's a pretty standard response tweet. I don't know how it got so viral. I don't know how the core values thing got so viral. So, anyway.
I thought it was kind of silly and funny anyway. Not a big deal.
But, I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened and obviously shouldn't have happened, but... more lessons to learn for next year, hopefully.
Yeah, you should probably know like what's going to happen before you put somebody on stage, I guess. Right. So maybe a lesson there. Well, it was fun to hang out on Sunday whilst the commentary was going on, whilst top 8s were going on, I should say. Because I had a lot of drinking to do. That was fun, hanging out, partying.
Oh, whatnot. Everyone was making fun of it because it had core values of the FGC.
Oh, I didn't even remember that. Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess that kind of makes sense.
That does make more sense.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't. That part didn't even stick out to me.
Same.
Then. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, the results. Or is there anything else to talk about when it comes to Evo Japan/Japan?
Anything else I want to mention about like my trip to Japan? I'm just trying to think here. Oh God, there's so much good food there. But actually, I just wanted to mention one thing about my Tekken 7 experience there, actually. So I got to play a bunch of round 2, and I was really excited to go there and get destroyed by everybody and, like, really learn some Tekken, right? And I played, and I did pretty well in Japan. And it kind of made me realize that I actually kind of had an issue with the way that it's set up in Japan, which is actually a good thing, but not for what I was looking for. And the reason for that is it's all online in Japan.
Right.
So when you go to a round 2 machine, and thanks to Nate, he pointed out that if you buy a banana pass, then you can have a 10-win streak before they kick you off, as opposed if you don't have a banana pass, you only get a 3-game win streak and then they kick you off the game. The game just ends, right? So I got a banana pass, and so they record your record that way, right? And so they started me on low ranks, and I had to work my way up, so they were only pairing me with other people of low ranks. So I wasn't actually able to play the super good people and find out where my true weaknesses were. I was because round 2 is brand new. So this is the first time that a lot of people had access to Geese and Noctis, etc. I fought like 90 Noctises, okay? And you could tell half those people were like, what does Noctis do? You know what I mean? And I only fought like one person who was clearly better than me. Like he beat me up so bad, and in fact, I only won one round against him, and that was only in the last game. Because you could actually rematch people in that thing. So you have the option to re-challenge them. And the first game I played against him, he beat me so bad all 3 rounds that in the 3rd round, he just like taunted me and stood there and let me beat him up for a little bit, and then he killed me.
Yeah.
But then I challenged him, and I think he was probably surprised by that, and that I was actually improving as it was going. And then, like I said, in the 3rd game, I took a round off of him.
Nice.
I took a legit round off of him. So yeah.
Good work.
But like that was
way to beat that guy off with your banana pass.
Exactly. And like, dude, that's what it's. Oh, what is it? Is it called like? But
I don't know.
Is it not banana pass?
No, I have no idea, man. Go on about your story about the banana pass. You found a top with your banana pass.
It's just a banana pass. Oh, Bandai Namco pass. That makes sense. Okay. I just read it as banana pass. Well, you know what?
It's not even banana pass?
It's not banana pass. Well, screw that. It's banana pass from now on, dude. Now, we've got to tell Eris about this, because Eris will spread that, dude. It is definitely a banana pass at this point in time. I'm not calling it anything else from now on.
All right.
Okay. So, I actually beat him one round, and then I quit. It's not even Banana Pass. It doesn't matter now. It is 100% Banana Pass from now on. So, but I'm gonna beat people off with my Banana Pass. Yeah, I actually beat him one round, so I was actually really happy about that. But that guy clearly showed me what my true weakness is in Tekken 7. And like I said, I just didn't get that feeling that when I played a lot of other people, because a lot of other people were also weaker like I was. So
I'm glad that you discovered something important about yourself with another guy using your Banana Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. I'm glad for you.
Yeah, and he definitely really, said he definitely accepted my Banana Pass.
Well, all right.
There you go.
Go on. So the results for Evo Japan. I mean, I don't know if we need to go through all these things, but Momochi won Street Fighter. I was super happy about that. Now, I'm a big Momochi fan, but also, he's not one of the dudes who has the Japanese pro gaming license, and so he could not win above, I don't remember, $900 or something.
I actually
10,000 yen or 100,000
I actually heard because that wasn't an officially sanctioned JESPA event that Momochi could win the entire.
Is that so?
I
thought that was illegal.
I heard that, but that's word of mouth. So who knows? Everybody's talking everywhere. So.
Well, I mean, it's not the case that I want Momochi to make less money. I want the stupid licensing thing to go away.
You want to expose the absurdity of the
exactly
rule
right.
of the law.
A non-professional player under the Japanese esports rules. He's not a pro, and he blew up these pros, right? So it's such a dumb system. I hope that strikes any kind of blow. Definitely it won't, but I like the idea of believing that it might.
Yeah, I was really happy because Momochi's performance in 2018 was lackluster for Momochi.
Yeah.
And I even remember the year that Mena RD won. There was a documentary crew going around making a documentary for Momochi. And even by the end of 2017, his performance hadn't been as strong as it was previously. And they interviewed me for this documentary, and a lot of the questions they were asking were like, so do you think Momochi's performance is going to get him unsponsored? Like you could see that just these people just had this super concern, and in Japan it's so much more business than it is like in America. Like, I'm not sponsored, whatever, I'll just keep playing, whatever. Like in Japan it was such a much bigger deal. And so, like, to see Momochi have this level of success again, makes me excited and makes me just really happy for the guy. I mean, the guy is such a strong player. He's always been one of my favorite players, and, obviously one of the only guys to win Evo and Capcom Cup in a calendar year.
Yeah.
And now he's an Evo Japan winner, so he has the trifecta.
He does indeed.
So,
and he's, important community leader. He's
exactly. And
organized and helped other students learn.
The stuff that he's done with Choco Blanca, with Shinobiism and all that stuff like that. It's amazing stuff. So, I
was rooting for him.
Thrilled. Not that I'm saying that I didn't want Fudo to win, but Fudo's been having success.
Fudo got second place again.
Yeah, he's been doing great.
It's happened a lot.
I'm not like...
He's accustomed to second position.
I'm not crying for Fudo because he's obviously still very successful.
Of course,
So, yeah.
Pretty cool. I thought it was awesome that Powell got third place. The Kami who did well last year, too, beat Tokido 2 years in a row now at Evo Japan. But he just can't travel, so it's really cool for him to be able to show himself off at Evo Japan.
You know what, also? Remember Evo Japan last year? They did not use challenge, but they seeded it weirdly that everyone kept double jeoparding. Double jeopardy was a huge problem last year. That was a huge... Everyone double jeopardy repeatedly last year. So that was something that they did fix here. Because I mentioned that because Powell beat Tokido last year, then lost to Tokido.
Right.
Kind of quickly,
that's right, yeah.
Right? That didn't happen this year, and Powell went on and got to third place, and I was super happy for him.
It's great. Very cool. Punk got fourth. That's pretty great also.
But clearly, obviously, Cammy got nerfed to the ground with this Season 4 patch. So terrible
Just
now.
sucks.
Buff Cammy.
Yeah, for sure. And Birdie confirmed top tier because somebody primarily using Birdie got second place.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
And he's one of the guys who put Birdie in that tier list.
He sure
and
did.
He is using him. And dude, I will say this about Street Fighter V. I really feel like the difference between 2-bar V-trigger and 3-bar V-trigger is too great. I really feel like I'm actually starting to believe that they should merge them all to something between 2 and 3 and just have all of them be that one level. Because the fact that Birdie got so good was just because I feel like that V-trigger went from 3-bar to 2-bar.
I feel like although the trigger is part of it,
I feel that it's more about just recognizing what he's like done the entire time. I think that's part of why I'm confused about him being listed as top tier, because he's like basically the same character. He actually got nerfed in a couple of ways, but like it's just I feel it's more like, oh, it turns out Birdie has had good footsies the whole time and good anti-airs the whole time, and he's dealt damage the whole time. Like, he is basically the same. A couple of characters who maybe beat him got nerfed.
I agree to a point.
I
really do think that V-Trigger made a huge... Because there was a lot of rounds Fudo won because he had that V-Trigger. Bot, bot, juggle, boom, bot, jug, dead.
Yeah.
Like, that happens so often.
Dude,
and he can build V-Trigger better than most characters can.
Indeed he can.
So I actually feel like that I didn't realize...
It is a buff. I don't want to say it's not.
I feel like it was a much more significant buff than I originally thought it was going to be. I actually think because of that change that he is significantly better than he was in previous seasons. I really kind of do.
I agree with you that he's better. I'm not sure that it's like a giant deal, but
right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I still don't think he's like the best in the game. I don't think
so
that's
either.
even remotely at that point.
I mean, he's good, but I felt like he's good like the whole time.
I do understand why some people have jumped him up in tiers that much. Especially Fudo, who uses him, probably realized, holy crap, this V-Trigger 2 is super good. So, makes a bunch of moves safe.
Don't you think Fudo should have been playing Birdie like the whole time? Like, that's just his...
It's more
like,
his
just
style.
Fits him better
it's more
than
his
Mika.
style. It fits more than Mika.
But I remember saying that in season 1.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool for Punk. That's cool.
Dude,
Jobin,
great job to Punk.
Yes, definitely.
Great. I think best Punk is not Echo Fox Punk. I think when he got signed to Echo Fox, that's what kind of weakened him. And now that he's not on Echo Fox, I feel like we've had the return of Cocky Punk, and I'm really happy about that. And I'm sure Cocky Punk had a banana pass in Japan as well. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Jobin, same kind of thing as Powell. Like those guys can't or don't in any case travel very much, but they're very strong, and they were in winner semis of top 8 against each other. So that's pretty cool. Good job to Nemo. Good job to Oil King. Good job to Crusher. Also a very strong player.
Another birdie.
Indeed, he is.
Another birdie.
Anyway, people who didn't make top 8 were like some amazing players.
Yeah, but
anyway, the whole long list.
It's what you're guaranteed to have happen. Yeah.
Scrolling. Damn, they really.
This Evo jersey is from Evo 2010.
Yeah, I used to be able to pre-order Evo jerseys, and they would make them. And I have a few from a few different years.
Does it say Graham on the back?
I don't think so. I think
it says Ultra.
Ultra.
Yeah.
Do I have 8 or is it the infinity sign?
It's 6.
6. That's right. Yeah. So whenever I played, that's right. Whenever I played hockey, it was either with number 6 or with the sideways 8.
Really?
Yeah.
They let you do that?
Yeah, some of them did.
What does A stand for?
Assistant. Assistant captain.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
So you have the C if you're the captain. Yeah.
That's right, because you could pay a little extra to get the A on there.
Was that what it was? I don't remember.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was that or you put it on there for like Anaheim or something.
Oh
like that.
man, no, just assistant.
Okay.
Tekken was won by VS Arslan Ash. This is definitely a better story than anything that happened in Street Fighter, although there was some cool stuff there. This dude from Pakistan beat all of these top players from Japan and Korea and the US, etc. And his path to get there, literally the way he got there, not his like, what's the bracket, but like
to get to
Evo Japan in the first place was a crazy slog, lasting multiple days, 5 flights, I think he said. At multiple times he thought he was just stranded and just didn't know what to do.
He got to Japan that morning that he had to play, and he was so scared he was going to get DQ'd.
Amazing, yeah.
And he beat everyone so efficiently, and everybody from Pakistan, right? Pakistan had said that we're the best at Tekken, blah, 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 and everyone's like, whatever. But so he beat Nee, and Nee is now flying to Pakistan to go and train with their scene.
No, I hadn't heard about that.
Yes.
That's
that
super
is actually,
cool.
So
Wow.
Nee has said, I'm going to Pakistan so I can train with those guys. Because he wants to make sure that he can keep up with them.
That's incredible. So, as an anecdote, I had a friend during my second law degree program who was from Pakistan. He was studying abroad from there. And he was big into the FGC. And when he came to SoCal, he always would tell me, look, I know you guys have a strong scene here. I know you guys have a lot of good players, but you got to see our players back home. And like he would come out to Wednesday night fights and stuff, and he'd always be like, "These are good players, but like you got to see our players back home." And I would always be like, "Okay, sure. You're a homer." Maybe I was the homer.
Yeah, you know? I know, right?
Yeah, I was the one who was like being unreasonable about it. In retrospect, I don't know.
That's one of my favorite things about Evo Japan. Running into the Russians, for example. Stuff. You get people from countries that you just don't. They don't get to Evo America Evo World as easily because it's harder for them to go to America than it is for Japan.
Yeah.
By the way, those Russians gave me a bunch of birthday presents, including the biggest giant piece of bread that I'd ever seen. That apparently is only made best in that guy's hometown, Tula. Yeah, exactly. And it was this bread with like this. It was almost like a Fig Newton plum kind of like jelly baked into the middle of it.
Super good.
I probably that thing lasted me the entire Japan trip. Let me tell you.
Did it really?
And I gave everybody a piece of it.
Yes.
I was like, "Here, Seijam, take a piece." I gave so much of that bread to people, and even when I went to Tokyo. Like, there was some nights that I went back to my hotel room and I was like, I don't feel like walking to the Family Mart. And I was like, I have this bread, and I would just eat the bread, because it was like 2 a.m. and I was like kind of weirdly hungry and I was like, oh, I have this bread. Seriously, like that bread lasted me the whole trip.
Man, that bread was important for me on that Sunday of a lot of sake drinking. That provided a nice little base.
And keep in mind here, when I'm talking about this bread, it's bigger than the envelope. It was like,
oh yeah, it was way bigger.
It was
than
like this,
it was
right?
huge.
And so that
was a foot long, easy.
That thing it looked like a football.
Yeah,
it literally looked like a football, dude. It was so good. That bread was ridiculous. That bread was so good, dude. And thank you to the Russian scene for sharing that with me because I did get to share it with a lot of other people as well, and I thought that was really really cool too. So,
agreed.
I got that bread.
You did.
I got that bread. So
yeah, I've also heard that that Arslan is not the best Tekken player in Pakistan. Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it was him who said it. I heard it from somebody, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
that is amazing.
That is amazing. So in Japan, the grand finals was Pakistan versus the Philippines.
AK.
With AK. So I thought that was really cool. It was a super good story. It's fun to watch. I assume I don't remember very much of it, nor of Street Fighter, by the way. I basically don't know what happened in Street Fighter.
I'll tell you this.
But I remember having the impression of it being fun.
I'll tell you this, though. I mean, there was obviously a lot of issues. I think it was Knee and JDCR played each other off stream and stuff like that.
That sucks.
And obviously a lot of people are like, "What happened?" I mean, they lost. That was a losers bracket match, so that's standard rules. You play losers bracket matches off stream, but obviously that should have been ran up to the stream.
In particular,
yeah, but again, keep in mind that a lot of those matches that weren't played were losers bracket match. The reason why I bring up that story is that is an indication of just how crazy the competition in Tekken is. Or if we're talking in Street Fighter terms, that just shows how random the game is and how there's no consistency in it. And obviously the game is scrubby and completely random because the top players can't even be consistent in the game. Anyways, I just had to soapbox that.
Nice word. Shout out to Jimmy J, who got 5th place.
Jimmy J. Dude, did you see that tweet that I retweeted? He ended a stream. It took me 2 hours to do taunt jet upper, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so apparently he ends his stream by doing taunt jet upper 4 times in one direction and 4 times in the other direction, right? And so there's a clip that he walks up there and he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Change to the other side. 5, 6, 7, 8. He didn't miss it 1 time. He did it 8 times in a row. For people who don't understand, it's not even a 1-frame link. Yeah. You have a 3-frame input that you have to input in exactly 3 frames. Back, forward, and button. You have to do that in the window that you have, otherwise it won't happen. Jimmy J. Tran is ridiculous. That guy is just he's not human. Huh? I've determined he is not human, so.
Anyway, that was cool to watch. Everybody told me. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 was won by Samito, who I've heard of forever and never thought that it would be Summit. I never thought that was supposed to be what it was. But that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, he won. That was cool.
Yeah, and second place went to Cha Cha Cha, who best performance he's ever had. Heihun is not. I mean, I was watching it with Felipe from Omen of Sorrow. We were sitting there watching it. Was it him or was it somebody else? It might have been somebody else. They were like, "Is Haehoon top tier? Because he looks really good, and he's not top tier. And he still did really well, so a lot of people were surprised by that performance there. Now, a lot of people are going to ask what happened to Omito or whatever. He was on commentary. Yeah. He couldn't make it in time to enter the tournament.
Oh,
so
really?
he showed up just to support and to have fun and stuff like that. So he was on the commentary. So he actually didn't lose. But Cha-Cha-Cha was, that was really cool to see him do really, really, really well with Haehoon. So
yeah, it was cool. So. Yeah. Okay. BB Tag. Tomo won with Mai and Gord.
Is that the same Tomo as the Guilty Gear Tomo? No, it's a different Tomo. Okay.
That was cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wasn't able to see some of this. So my intention was to get there in the morning to see it, and I started walking like when the top 8 started, thinking like, oh, I'll just watch the rest, and then it took like longer than I had expected. I had done the walk previously, and just in my mind I was like, yeah, I'll just walk there. And 40 minutes later, I was missed like half the top 8. So. But what I saw was really fun. It was really, really good to watch. That was cool. Soulcalibur was won by Shoot Fighters Kiev from France. It's pretty cool. Shen Chan, I think from Singapore, if I recall correctly, got second place with Cervantes. A lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy that game, as I have often said. And then Sama M- won KOF 14.
Yeah. BB Tag was good stuff, though.
BBCF. Side tournaments now.
Yeah, BB Tag was good stuff, so...
Fenrich won that. Fenrich won both Dragon Ball FighterZ and BBCF side tournaments. Not bad. Pretty good at games, I guess. Million Arthur Arcana Blood was won by Hino Kino with Koume Sakayama. Mm-hmm. Third Strike. Wow. Hirohata, Dudley, Machiken, Ken, and Hayao Hugo were their top 3. Okay, I didn't know that the super legit players came out. That's awesome. USF 4. I heard that this was not very legit, but it was won by Rao Ru Kuruuze with M. Bison.
Keep in mind that a lot of the side tournaments were standard single elimination, one game Japan style. A lot of the side tournaments were like that. I know CVS2 was run that way.
CVS2 was won by Gon, Iori, Blanca.
Did you just skip Vampire Savior?
Well, you were talking about CVS2, so I was like, here's who won it.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't going to ignore it. Vampire was won by Toho with BB Hood. Jeez, dude. Fexel was won by number 18 with Jax. Jack? What is it? Yeah, Jack. My bad. Anyway, Marvel 3 was won by King Lord.
Boss got third place, I think. So, talking...
CVS?
Yeah, and CVS, third place. Talking to Boss, every time I joke with him that he's the best player in CVS2, he does say that there are a couple of other people in Japan who he thinks better than he is. So he is not, the absolute best, but that also could be him being very humble, and he's actually equal with all of them. Although he did say he is the second best fighting EX layer player in Japan.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Did he get second? I only looked at who won.
I don't even know if he played,
Well, he's not in the top 8.
Yeah, so he might not have played it. So.
And Marvel Infinite was won by Cyber Japan Agent. Not a big surprise either.
What a shock. Okay.
All right, where did he go?
Jobin's run was super good. Yeah.
He indeed
we didn't talk about the storylines behind it and everything like that. Obviously, Jobin and Powell, who are both apparently really, really good friends. Was it them? Wow. I think because they had to play each other first round. And they played each other forever.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
And Jobin apparently had beaten Powell 10-2 in a first to 10 just recently. Yeah. And then Powell, that's what happens. You beat him in the first to 10, and then the guy comes and beats you in the tournament. But they're apparently super good friends. They were both very emotional. Jobin was very emotional about his placing up there. So very, very cool that he was up there. So sorry, did not mean to. Just there's so much we can talk about, and so.
But I guess that's about it for Evo Japan.
Yeah.
Anything else?
They did announce that they're coming back next year.
Oh, the reveals we didn't talk about.
Yeah, they did reveal that they were coming back next year, which actually I wasn't even 100% positive because I was like, man, these are just not,
I was not sure.
Yeah. But if it is in Fukuoka next year, again, like I said, if you are at least a foreigner, not someone in Japan, if you're a foreigner and you're considering not going because it's not Tokyo, do reconsider. There is a lot of really, really cool stuff there to do and everything like that. Obviously, if you're living in Japan, oddly enough, it's harder to get there. I know a bunch of people could make it because, like Fugu, for example, who's super helpful, and he gave me a set of those those Street Fighter tarot cards that everybody was going after, which was, thank you, Fugu, so much. He met me at Hey Arcade to give it to me.
That's nice.
But he couldn't go. He just had a kid, so congratulations. 7 months old. I think. 7 weeks old. I'm sorry. Wow. 7 weeks old. Yeah, really? So yeah, shout outs to Fugu. But like a lot of people, obviously from Tokyo couldn't make it because it's just harder for them to do that. So. But if you could make it, then if you can make it from foreign countries, I would recommend it. And, you know, I hope we don't accidentally blow up a poor Italian restaurant, but I will definitely be telling everybody to go there next year.
Yeah.
So,
well, Tom said that he's going to open his own bar, so I guess we'll see.
Who? Oh, Tom.
The
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Mai is coming to Dead or Alive 6. That was one of the reveals.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And another unannounced King of Fighters guest character. Amy will be in Soulcalibur.
Yep, the Raphael's daughter, I think.
believe that's true, if I recall correctly. Yeah. That's cool. What else is it? Oh, yeah, Cross Tag. That's right, there's all this news for it. So Teddy will be in it. Naoto from BBCF will be in it. Seth from Under Night will be in it. And Heart Aino from Arcana Heart 3 were all announced. And then they also showed that there's going to be another Fate.
That's crazy.
There was a ton of stuff going on right there. That was really cool.
Clearly, you know, Kiraoka revealed to me on the Arc live stream what the fifth Fate was already.
What was it?
Like,
you didn't know?
No,
okay.
That was the troll that we did on the Arc live stream because we were like, "What's the fifth Fate?" And then we cut the audio, and then
I do remember this.
So Arcana Heart.
Skullgirls can still get in.
Skullgirls. So it's crazy because everyone's like, "What's the fifth Fate? Tell us the fifth Fate."
Sarah
and then they finally give
Valentine?
us, and then they finally give us the fifth Fate, and then they announce there's a sixth Fate.
Yeah.
It's like nothing's changed. Now everyone just wants to know what the sixth Fate is.
Yeah,
So,
I think that was really cool. Let's see. Final characters for Tekken 7 Season 2. Julia, Chang, and Negan will be released on February the 28th, which is in 2 days from now. Dude, the Negan trailer had everybody going.
That Negan trailer.
It was ridiculous. Everybody in that venue, and I'm sure at home too, was going wild for it.
As soon as Negan, when he was like, "Don't ask me," and as soon as he said that, everyone was like, "You're not doing this."
I couldn't believe it.
For shit. And we were it was like, "Oh my god."
That was so sick. I couldn't believe
And then they even put Harada in the trailer. I actually thought he was going to club Harada. I actually thought they were going to have him club Harada. But no, Harada said, no, I'm releasing you now. And then, so... But I'm
that was great. That was so good.
I'm excited. I actually really want to learn Julia because she was one of the characters I tried to learn back in 5 a long time ago. And I'm just going to be one of a billion Julia players online when she drops, I'm sure. But also because King plays a certain way, and I think it would be really healthy for me to learn a character that's different. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to learn a few other characters like Kazumi. I tried to learn... I forgot like some of the other Fang. I tried to learn a little bit, but I think Julia might be a good one in there. So
got just a couple of days.
Yep, that's coming out in 28th. Yep, 2 days, literally 2 days.
We also talked about the Tekken World Tour, which will take place for the first event at the Mix-Up in Lyon, France. That is in April 20th. They said there's going to be more prize money.
Yeah, I don't know the accents on that Sub-Zero Smoke Rain, so that's the best I can do. So, Baji Trin. Yeah, every time you see Quan, it's not actually Quan, it's Trin. It's Trin. So there you go.
Harada, next DLC character. They made an in-game model for him, so why not?
Dude, they should
exists.
Dude, that would be hilarious. They should just put him in there. Well, at least
he's like the new Mokujin.
I know dude.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be genius.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna put him in there, you make him the Mokujin. That has to happen now. Because I was about to say, his model wasn't particularly detailed.
It wasn't. Yeah,
so obviously he could be like a background character, but
right.
now they just need to make him undetailed Mokujin, and I think that would be
cool.
So good.
I bet some modder could do that, but you could hack into it.
Oh yeah, if his code is actually in the game,
That's true. Yeah,
could have just made it for the trailer and then trashed it. So
very possible.
Oh man.
Yeah, those were the reveals. It was cool. There was a lot of cool news that came out of that day. Mm-hmm. Some of which I remember.
How excited are you for the individual characters in BB Tag's announcement?
I'm not super stoked personally. They're not characters that I care over much about. Mm-hmm. I feel like Seth might play interestingly, like he might fit well he might be like fit. Yeah, and same with Teddy, I guess. I just don't know much about Arcana Heart to like be able to say either way.
Okay. So you want Skullgirls in as the
I mean, I think that'd be cool. I don't expect it, but I think
I actually thought Samurai Shodown would be cool until they announced the actual game coming out. Now I think it's kind of less of a chance that would happen.
Sure.
There was a couple of franchises that I thought would be crazy in there. I remember on an ARC live stream, we were all saying like we would love to see Avatar: The Last Airbender just like randomly added into there. If they can't do that, then something like ER Kung Fu would be hilarious. Like I think it would be funny to like do something crazy like that because I would like to see a Ruby-esque kind of thing where they just take a brand new franchise and
why not?
Do something cool with
They
that.
did a cool job with those characters, so why not?
Yeah.
Wow. Heart has a DBFZ homing dash?
Really? Oh, because I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, you got me on that one. Yeah.
I don't know that much about those games, but I do know that.
They have the homing dash. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I was like, but David, don't you see that? Okay, wait, hang on. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. I didn't play any of those characters in the games that they come from, but they might fit in interestingly.
It's not quite the same. The homing dash was literally just like an air dash that would always go towards the opponent. It wasn't super dash that would take you all the way over there and stuff like that. So but
you know they can't put in like the super wild characters. They can't put in like Aracune just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could make that.
But I'm still surprised they even figured out a way to put Naoto in the game.
I guess.
Like I thought Naoto would game would like assist like automatically. I felt like would make her broken, but you know.
I mean, I still think she's quite strong, but you know, hasn't played out like that.
Okay.
Hasn't played out.
And
like
nothing from Street Fighter V. That was the crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I think that I didn't expect anything out of Street Fighter.
I thought Evo Japan might have been a big enough venue that they could finally just be like, here's some new stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe the DLC pack was supposed to be coming out.
Yeah, right. So they did put a DLC trailer out today or yesterday?
Yesterday, I think.
And maybe that should have been there. But that's not... Is that like enough? Like if either I feel like you don't do anything or like... It's something cool.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit too underwhelming.
Might have been underwhelming.
Yeah. So I suspect at final round maybe we'll get something going on over there. So
that's my expectation too. Okay, enough about Evo Japan.
Yes.
Cool.
Let's take a break, and we can talk a little bit. We'll have to talk very briefly about
about some other stuff.
Sorry, guys, we are definitely running very long today.
Yeah.
So
well,
lots of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Okay, we'll be right back, guys. I don't know what it is, but there's something about these PlayStation water bottles that the water even flows out in a very appealing way.
It's really aerated well.
Yeah.
They do a good job.
Can't explain it, so...
It's because of the little spot on the top that allows the air through. See right there?
Oh.
Right on the little... Yep. Physics and whatnot. I always said that if I didn't do law, and if I didn't also do philosophy, and if I didn't also do economics, and if I also... Anyway, I thought about doing physics for a while.
Right.
When I was young.
Right. Okay, got it. Dude, I mean, trust me, I understand. There's like... If I wasn't playing fighting games, like there's like 7,000 things that I'd want to do like as a hobby. Like I've always said that if I didn't need to sleep, like I would never run out of things to do. You know what I mean? If I didn't need to sleep, if I didn't need to eat, if I just like stayed clean automatically my whole entire life and I didn't have to work or whatever like that, I would never run out of things to do.
Dang, is it actually running 6 ads? It usually doesn't. That's why I do the 3-minute thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we have more viewers this time, and so they'll get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about doing political economy of industrial societies for a while. I thought about doing peace and conflict studies for a while. I thought about majoring in Chinese. I never took it. Like, for 10 minutes when I was a freshman, I was like, you know what would be cool is to major in Chinese. And then I was like, probably not. So I ended up taking Spanish and French in college instead.
I went with the boring ones. The best part about it is like, my parents forced me into, Chinese school when I was young, and we hated it because I was like, why is my Saturday being spent at this random place that they didn't tell us that they were sending us to at all? Like literally one morning they're like, get up. And we got up and they drove us to this Chinese school and over there, and I hated it. And then I took 3/4 of Chinese in UCLA.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I want to take more. So I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going to take some more Chinese. It might mean I'll graduate a little later, but I just want to learn more Chinese. And then my mom was like, no, don't take it. And I was like, what?
All right, so what do you want to talk about results, or are we just going to be like, hey...
Let's just talk about some events happened, if we have any thoughts on them.
Genesis was a big one. Some stuff happened. Winter Brawl happened last weekend. I don't know, man. I don't think there's a lot that we can get to. Strong stuff. Anyway, come back live. We can.
Okay. Are the ads done?
Oh, 8 seconds remain.
8 seconds remain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Political economy of industrial societies. PEIS.
PEIS? Whoa, how did that come up?
Somebody asked political what? That was a major that I thought about taking.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because I like politics and economics. So I was like, those 2 things.
What?
All right, let's come back live.
Is this still a thing? Hang on a second.
I thought about majoring in religious studies for a while. I had like all of these ideas. And then I did political science and law. Dang. It got boring. No, I was super excited about those things at the time.
You definitely were a man of many interests, which makes sense to me why you'll watch documentaries on Netflix and not High Score Girl.
I'm constantly looking for new documentaries. All right, you ready?
Have you watched The Toys That Made Us?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. That's great.
All right, here we go. Hey, all right, welcome back. Let's talk about previous events in super brief.
We need that guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp to like describe all the
Oh, that would be pretty great.
Someone actually said before the second half of Infinity War, they should release a video where he tells the entire story of
genius.
Everything that happened up to that point. I think that'd be awesome.
That's so genius.
Yeah.
We have a break so that we can take a whiz and eat. But
yeah, and I had to grab water and stuff like that. So
speaking of eating, I'm going to eat 2 more tacos.
You have more tacos, huh? Okay.
Genesis happened. This is a while ago now, but we didn't talk about it because we were gone. MK11 won Ultimate. Void got 2nd place. That's cool. Samsora got 3rd.
The bag is touching your microphone.
Oh, I see. You didn't like it? Melee was won by Hungrybox, but Axe got 2nd place. Plup got 3rd place and was crushed.
Mm-hmm.
AMSA got 4th place. That's cool. That was fun.
I really enjoyed watching Genesis.
Me too.
I really had a great time.
Yeah.
They did a lot of cool things, not to gloss over Genesis, because Genesis obviously is the biggest Smash tournament.
I mean, yeah, we would have talked about it more if it had been like this weekend.
But, dude, the stats thing was awesome.
Yes.
That was super great. Was super cool, and it was really interesting to see. Obviously, it's all done, obviously, not through, like, APIs through the game. They're doing it by reading the screen and stuff like that. Is from what I had heard about it.
I imagine.
So that's just really, really cool. And shout outs to the guys for that kind of technology.
That's helpful as a viewer. It really added to the experience, I felt. Wow, those are huge tacos. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, welcome to Tacos Por Favor.
2 tacos.
It doesn't look like 2. It looks like tostadas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Wow. Okay. It's maybe for tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was really really well done. I thought the commentary was great. I mean TK and EE always are entertaining.
Some of my
so
faves.
Much. Yeah,
they are
it
excellent.
Was really great. So. That's why I was actually really happy to see TK at Evo Japan as well.
Dude, for sure. He and D1 did great. They did really good commentary. I was listening as they were doing Caliber commentary, for example.
Okay, cool.
It was good.
Yeah. But again, Genesis, I mean, that's exciting. I thought it was funny that the Grand Finals was a Pokemon battle. I kept joking it was Pokkén.
I didn't even think about that.
It was like, oh, Grand Finals is Pokkén. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't want Hungrybox to win, but I'm always happy that Hungrybox wins. So
in that instance, I was rooting for Axe just because I thought that would have been really cool.
For the upset, of course.
Smash 64 is won by KYSK. Cool. Anything else to say about Genesis? It was big. It was a big one.
Yeah, it was a big one. It was a really, really well. I heard everybody who was there had a lot of fun. Like I saw tweets from like Ricky Ortiz. She had a lot of fun at that event. And
dang, there were 2,105 players for Ultimate and 1,113 for Melee.
Ultimate looked really good. God, that game is just that game is so fun.
It did. Yeah, we're definitely not going to talk about every tournament, for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, which one do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Strong Style Japan?
I didn't see or hear much about it.
Do you want to talk about Anime Ascension?
Anime Ascension, really cool event. I know that it was...
it was the same weekend as Evo Japan.
Yeah, it was the same weekend as... No, it was the same... Was it Evo Japan? Yes, it was Evo Japan weekend. So I heard a lot of great things about that event. I heard a lot of good results and just a lot of people having fun. It's really cool. Hopefully they don't have another... This is the second year in a row that they've had a conflict, because 3 years ago I went to Anime Ascension and I even entered Guilty Gear there. And then the last 2 years it was NCR, and now it was Evo Japan that it conflicted with. So hopefully next year I can make it to Anime Ascension. And hopefully even next year, if I make it to Anime Ascension, I'll be able to do, like, maybe even try to do some commentary there or something like that. So, yeah. Strong Style Japan was really good, huh? Man, I didn't get to see anything about it. I didn't get to hear anything about it, so I'm really sad about that.
Well, I can tell you who won the video games there.
Okay.
If you're interested.
Hitbox, Hbox is already... Hitbox. Hungrybox is already talking about running a Melee tournament on Evo weekend. Oh. Good for Hungrybox, dude. Okay. Good for Hungrybox. Man, I know sometimes he can be a jerk. I've heard stories or whatever like that, but I mean, I respect him. I respect him.
At Strong Style Japan, the winners were the team of Chikarin with Geese, Rangchu Panda, and Ulsan with Kazumi.
Rangchu.
And they, as a result, will receive all expenses paid trip to Strong Style 2019.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Shout-outs over there. Now, Winter Brawl happened the past...
Oh, is he talking about a Melee tournament on Evo weekend, not at Evo?
That's much funnier, but maybe...
Oh, if he means not at... I thought he just meant at Evo. I thought he just meant at Evo.
That is very funny.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Winter Brawl 3D. Caliber. Won by Linkors. Cool. Sane got second place with Ivy. That was pretty cool. I watched that. I had a good time. Rikudo got fifth with Astaroth. I don't know that Party Wolf was there.
Oh, he might not have been there.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him play. Tekken 7 was won by Sour Piggy with Katarina. DOA won by Dracaris with Rig. Hook Gang God won Dragon Ball.
Chris G got second. Chris G is doing really, really well, and still.
That's a pretty strong Dragon Ball tournament.
But that's the second time he's gotten second to Hook Gang God recently, because he lost to him at Frosty Faustings as well.
BB Tag was won by Rhino. Second place, Punk.
What was the winning team?
Carmine Jin.
That's cool to see Punk is still sticking with BB Tag. I'm really happy about that. Now, he's probably going to go in hard on Mortal Kombat, I would imagine.
That seems likely, I guess. Yeah.
Because he played at the Injustice tournament in Frosty Faustings.
Yeah, he was good at the game for a while. He made top 16 at some big tournaments. And Frostbite, which was won by Tweak, who seems like probably the best Ultimate player right now. Second place was MK11. Myron got third. That was cool. A couple Olimars in there. Tweak with Wario and Donkey Kong. I feel like those are the... If I were to take the game actually seriously, probably I should pick one of those two. I feel like they'd fit my style probably the best. But, yeah.
Okay.
I'm playing Little Mac. I mean, it's obviously a struggle. It's obviously a struggle.
Yeah. I would switch away from Little Mac.
He's not good.
Have you tried Plant yet?
I have tried Plant, and I did. I thought Plant was kind of my style too. But
yeah, I was just about to say. I was like, Plant actually.
Big head coming out. Yeah.
I can kind of see that being a very David-y character, especially with the big cloud for the zoning factor of it. Like it's not actually a hit. It's like Fang Poison. You know. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Okay.
That's all I want to talk about for tournaments. Anything else that you
want
to talk
about? There was no other?
I swear there was like... No, I think there were.
Oh, okay. All right, we just don't have any time.
That's all I got.
All right, fair enough. Okay. MK11 news.
MK11 news. Now, a couple of things. Cabal revealed and shown. That was a while ago, but we haven't been on the air since then to talk about it. Also, Jade revealed and shown. And I think they both...
Did they actually show Jade gameplay? Oh, yeah, they did. They did. That's right. Yeah.
She looks way cooler. She was such a throwaway, I felt, in the couple games, a few games that she's been in the past. Her style, I just have always felt is like not interesting, The only unique thing that I can think about her gameplay-wise is the anti-projectile shield that she puts on. She puts some purple stuff on, and she can't be hit by a projectile. Other than that, I've always thought like she's kind of a throwaway. But in this game, she looks much more fleshed out, much more interesting.
What's her gimmick this time?
I mean, she doesn't really have a gimmick. Like she has that anti-projectile thing still, but she has far range. She's got a big pole. She always had the pole, and she didn't use it for very many things. She just was carrying a pole. But now she does stuff with it, and she has big footsies and good pressure. Every character so far, Cabal included, everybody seems like they are both, like they're everything. Right, if you want, you can zone with them. Right, if you want, you can play offense with them. She has a run. She looks fast.
Sorry.
What are we doing over here?
Thinking,
like boogers on my face?
No, I'm thinking she has a pole, but does she have a banana pass?
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
so you vaulted right
Sarah
over.
The hero knew. He even put it in there before I said it. He knew why I was laughing.
No dancing around that question.
Oh my god. Oh man. Anyways,
pole.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I got it.
They both look cool, I thought.
Okay.
Cabal didn't have. I thought that he might have had a command grab because the way his overhead looked in the last game he was in, it kind of looked like it was a grab to me always. It kind of swings you around, but he doesn't have that.
Oh, well, okay. I was excited to see that Flo was playing Eunice. Someone in the chat mentioned that, and he's beating people in day one. I was like, that's not a shock. I'm happy that Flo's playing it, but then apparently he's also using Phonon, so okay, Phonon is like the best character in the game. So
that's Ari.
Yeah.
And also Devora was announced, and a picture of her was shown. Have you seen it?
Yeah. It looks like she looks like that Joker who like ripped his face off and like stapled it back on, right? You know, I mean,
pretty good analogy.
Because that's what it looks like. It looks like the face is
pretty
like stapled onto her face. So.
Yeah, she looks like a gross bug lady.
As opposed to being
makes
a
sense.
gross bug lady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's very fitting. It's definitely weird looking. It's not. I would say she's like kind of robotic looking too. Not like just an organic bug, but like a kind of mecha bug. I think it's kind of cool looking. It's not pretty if you're like, because there's a whole controversy at the time. Oh, she's ugly now.
Well, they're mad about Jade too.
Yeah,
because
Jade has clothing on now.
Yeah,
she looks so much more interesting. Same with Scarlet. Oh, Scarlet has clothing on now.
Right.
They all look so much more interesting, and it's the same for Devora, I feel. Although we haven't seen her in action, so I guess we'll see. Right. But her face, her like look, as shown, I felt was much cooler looking.
Right. Okay.
I mean, if you're still into it, that's you. You know.
I mean,
do your own thing.
QB is adorable. Okay. I mean,
but they made her look adorable.
Yeah, I know. They did.
They're not making Devora look adorable right now. She's like a walking like bug house.
Right.
Devora.
I mean,
she's just like carrying bugs in her.
I mean, I know like Jade has always been that kind of character, you know. So I mean, if they had designed her that way, like I wouldn't have mind. But Devora, a bug character, like it's fine.
She's
a
bug.
They just let her be a bug character. So
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think she looks all right, but we'll see her play. A couple other things about MK. One is that tonight there's going to be a character reveal. IGN was talking about it. It will be at 12 midnight Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast, it's 3 a.m. And if you're in Europe, God help you, I don't know, 8 in the morning, depending on where you are, 9 in the morning. It can be tough. Now it's like perfect time, like waking up. Oh, buddy.
You're tough
coffee.
For me.
Yeah.
It's tough for me.
Man, yeah.
Like 8 a.m. Jesus, I won't tell you.
I'd rather it be 8 a.m. than midnight.
I won't tell you what time I woke. I won't tell you what time I woke up today. Okay. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took me a while to get back to LA time too.
Dude, it's crazy. The first couple of nights, like the jet lag wasn't even that bad, but like the last couple of nights, like the first couple of nights, I went to sleep at normal time, but then, dude, on Monday morning, I was just like sitting there lying in bed with my eyes open, and I was like, it was like 7 a.m. and I could not fall asleep. It was 6 a.m. I could not fall asleep. So I got up and Marie Kondo'd the hell out of my desk and found key pieces of mail that I had left there for
that's right.
months and months and months. So yeah.
It is a strange time to reveal a character at midnight.
Unless it is a Night Wolf thing, like you said some people were joking because it has to do with the moon and
yeah, and his name's Night Wolf.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. Or are they thinking like they're going to reveal some character from Italy? He's a new Italian character, and for people in Italy or whatever, like in Europe,
like when they revealed Rashid in
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I don't know.
I
guess we'll see.
I hope it's not Nightwolf. Nightwolf is like so not interesting.
I agree with you. However, I really think they'd make him interesting. I think they would.
Yeah, that's true.
They'd turn him interesting in this game because they just have been doing that.
Yeah.
Scarlet, Jade, these are some throwaway characters. I feel, but
they were palette swap.
Yeah.
Throwaway characters. Yeah.
But now they look cool, especially Jade. Yeah. So I think that's cool. And then also tomorrow, separately, apparently, on the Kombat cast at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Central for them, they're going to reveal another character.
Oh, they're not even just going to talk about the character.
My understanding is that there's 2 different characters being revealed.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, look, the game is not coming out far away from now. It's literally like a month from now, right?
Month and a half.
Month and a half. And they obviously have not revealed a lot of characters. Shout-outs to NRS for good jobs keeping that under wraps, by the way. Or has it... Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes.
Okay.
So Steam put out achievements. And
never mind. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
so it wasn't like NRS that screwed up.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's even real or so. It wasn't like Aaron Black. You have to do this with him to get an achievement.
Right,
it's like the achievement is named like ERR whatever. That's like the file.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So it's things like that. People are like figuring it out, but that may not be real. Who knows?
I guess I have not been with my nose to the Twitterverse.
There's been stuff, man. There's been stuff.
Whoops.
Yeah, and there were other characters as well.
All I can say to that is, whoopsie! Of course, that's not what he actually says, but that's what a lot of people thought that's what he said, so... Could be.
It definitely could be error macro.
Too busy in Tetris 99. Facts. I actually did stream Tetris 99 from my hotel room in Japan when they announced that night. Like, I just had to do it. So
it really could be Ermac because Ermac comes from error macro.
Right.
Was that MK2? I think it was just an error. So yeah, I mean for sure it could be that. I don't know.
Yes.
And I don't want to like spread what else.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not in that business.
It's so much more interesting to actually get surprised by things.
I mean, you got to think it is Aaron Black, but
right,
we'll
exactly.
See. We'll see.
I mean, there's a character I hope that they can make design-wise a little more interesting.
A little more interesting, please. What a nerd! What a nerd of a cowboy. How do you make a cowboy look like a nerd? I don't know. He's got the smoky eye. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Oh man!
All of his animations were bad. We'll see. Also in MK news.
Oh, okay. More MK news. Unless you're talking about Mario Kart now.
I am not. I'm talking about the first
summit.
10 competitors for the Mortal Kombat 11 Summit of Time.
Yes, that is correct.
They're going to have a summit for MK. Again, this was news a while ago. Although the more recent news is that they have announced which players are going to be there. They put a little picture out because there had been rumors about who was going to be there.
Right. Yes.
Before we talk about the rumors, the people who are going to be there are going to be Foxy Grandpa, Hayate, Sonic Fox, Scar, Tekken Master, Dragon, Honeybee, DJT, Tyrant, and Forever King.
I mean, that's just about as good of a lineup as you could.
So I like the lineup in part because it's some of the best modern players for sure, but it's also like who was good during MKX and who was good during MK9. And so it's like the three competitive Mortal Kombats. I feel like you could have, honestly, to be perfectly frank, I feel like if you're going to pick like the rep of like who was good in MK9, you got to pick PL. Like I feel like he should have been there personally. But I understand DJT had a great showing there. Tyrant had a great showing in that. Scar, a couple of these dudes did.
Did you see Sonic Fox's tweet in response to that?
No.
He was like, put my cartoon persona in there, you cowards.
Oh,
that's like my old sponsor.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, Rio would have been a great pick as well if you're going to go for the old school times.
Well, Chris
Tom Brady
G did drop out after the drama, right?
So there were rumors about who was
let's
going to be
talk about
there.
the drama a little bit because it's something to be addressed.
Agreed. So there were rumors about who the players were going to be in the summit, and it was like some of the obvious ones, some of the people who are here, right, that I just mentioned. But then there was also Chris G, and there was not Rewind, who won Evo for Injustice 2. There was not like Tweety, who was probably the best or second best Injustice player. Well, maybe third after it's not Fox. Anyway, he was definitely one of the best for sure, and was a good MK player as well. Those guys weren't there. Honeybee originally was not in there. So there was all this discussion about why is it that Chris G is in there and not these like NRS players, right?
Wasn't didn't the list also had like Yohozi on there or something like that?
I don't think it had.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so.
Because I remember some people were talking. Oh, that just must have been in reference to the Dragon Ball invite that she got.
So.
Okay.
So
I saw some people talking about her during this, and I wasn't
related.
sure why.
No.
Okay.
I mean, the reason Chris was picked is because he was a good MK9 player. He was a good Injustice player. When he entered MKX or Injustice 2, he did fine.
Yeah.
That's why. Also because he has so much success in other games. He's just like a well-known player if you're somebody who doesn't pay attention to just NRS games. And that, you got to think, as the person putting this shindig together, the summit, you probably want some like additional attention.
Nice. Yeah.
Right? Sure. So try to bring in some other people. So that was my guess on why that was happening. But the scene did not react to that well. In part, I understand because they have often felt like they're kind of attacked by the rest of the FGC and not taken serious and not respected. And I think that often was and in some cases still is true. That they have often gotten the short end of things. They've often had, poor tournament facilities or poor schedule timings that they're given at events. They're often looked at as playing a game that's not as deep, or that's just like a mix-up machine like an MKX or whatever, or that's just about projectiles and Injustice, or they're seen as thought of as having weaker players.
I mean,
it's like all these things that have been around for a long time.
I feel like one of the aspects of that is like the DOA aspect, right? It's like everyone's like, oh, this game is just about, the titillation and stuff like that. And MK is, it's just about violence. I can't take this game seriously,
For sure.
And it's unfortunate because, it's weird. Like, I feel like Mortal Kombat needs to somehow get away from the violence, but it should never go away from the violence because that's like the whole game.
Financially,
and that's like the way it sells. Yeah, it'd be the worst thing for them to ever do if they ever went away.
If they were to suddenly think the competitive scene is the important stuff,
even as FGC guys, you'd be like, you crazy.
Let's try to get the East Asian player base. Like, maybe you could, but you'd be giving up basically what made them famous.
Right,
so it's not doable.
Exactly.
But that is part of it as well, I'm sure. So the scene has often been attacked, and so I think kind of expects that. They often identify attacks that I think are like not really attacks, but maybe more like somebody, like for example, people have said, oh man, Punk, for example, when MK11 comes out, I'm gonna play this and I'll beat you guys. And Punk did like the same thing when BB Tag came out. And Sonic Fox did the same thing when Ultimate was coming out. And it's just what people do in fighting games. You just do that. In the past, people were bigger jerks about it. Like, Filipino Champ famously said that that the scene was really bad, and that if he or anybody else wanted to from the Street Fighter scene, that they could make top 8 at an Injustice 1 tournament. So that's like a little bit more of an attack, right? Rather than just I'm going to beat you guys in the new game. So like the new stuff is not like the same attack as once it was. But the scene, I think, still like expects it. And so
all I'm thinking about is that famous clip of Punk saying that he was going to take Yipes' lunch money in MVC.
Exactly the same thing. Yeah.
And the Yipes expression just was like, dude, I've never seen someone get serious that fast in my life, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same thing. So when they kind of blew up on Chris, I felt like that was unfortunate. Maybe there are other reasons to blow up on Chris, but to attack him for not being like a legit NRS player, I think sucks. On the first part, that was the first game he made top 8 at Evo in. Was MK9. Like that was one of his first I'm good at games now games. So he does have that history, in fact. But even on top of that, it just sucks. It doesn't make the scene look good. It makes the scene look bad, right? So in making those attacks, I felt that they were kind of like feeding into the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, like it's your scene is not to be taken seriously. And so in response to that, you do things that make the scene be taken less seriously.
Right.
And that is a big bummer.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, even with the Tweety drama, and I know this is why I wrote out a giant series of tweets. I was talking to people about it in Japan, and I had this long thread about it and everything like that. But it seems to be a common thing with a lot of the young players these days that are starting to make a name for themselves in the fighting game community. It's like,
What?
It's just that you're in the situation where this might be your best chance at doing something great, at accomplishing something that you feel worthy in your life. And I'm not going to say that accomplishing stuff in fighting games isn't worthy. It's absolutely worthy, you know. But the problem is, you just have to realize that when you're in that position, that and you've talked about this before, is that everyone is replaceable in a way, right? And so even though you could be one of the greatest players coming up and, you know, have this potential to be great, you also can be forgotten very quickly. And so when you're young, you don't realize this because you feel like you're invincible. And you know, I've talked about this to a lot to people. When you're in early 20s, you have this air of invincibility that you just feel like, you know, you deserve this kind of, no one deserves anything in the fighting game community. You're earning all of it, right? And so even despite how good you are, you know, and again, this is not just a message to Tweety. This is to every young player that's done a lot of this stuff, because a few of them have done this in the past, right? Even some veterans continue to do this today.
Sure, I mean, this has been around forever.
Right. It's, you know, when you feel slighted, when you feel like you are being overlooked, when you feel like you are being attacked, be careful on how you respond to that, because if you attack too much yourself, you could hurt yourself more than not getting into the summit. Not getting into the summit might have been bad for Tweety, but what Tweety's response has made it even worse for himself.
So Tweety did go on too much of an attack, for sure, in response to these things. Attacking Chris, attacking Tyrant. Tyrant was a good player in MK9 and in the start of Injustice 1, and not really since. Not that he's even played seriously, I don't think. Maybe he could be good, it doesn't seem like a priority really for him. But he hasn't had those results anyway, right? So Tweety went on attacking him and attacked other people for kind of having similar or reactions of like, this isn't a big deal. Tweety attacked them. So there was a lot of stuff coming out of him, and he, although I don't know if this is the reason why his sponsor dropped him.
Right.
Because
he also said something to Wonder Chef that was really
indeed he did. He went in way too deep.
He went in a little too hard on Wonder Chef. So
and you know, he knows that. He has said that on Twitter as well. He's kind of like realized and owned up to it. So I guess that's good, but it's unfortunate that it happened in the first place.
And that's the reason why I give this message is not to be like, Tweety, but it's like for the people who have that potential. Like, you don't have to do it to realize you messed up. You can realize it's a mistake before you do it, hopefully.
Yeah, it's hard to learn lessons from other people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, Tweety had... I mean, look, Tweety is a very strong player, and is one of the best players in the NRS scene for sure. But, you know, he went too far on some stuff. So, yeah, that was a whole bunch of drama. So Chris G pulled out of the summit. I mean, if that list was even real, I can't say personally for sure that one that had him on it originally. But regardless, he said he didn't want to be involved anymore because there was so much vitriol coming at him. He just didn't want to deal with it.
I mean, some people in the chat are saying that he might not even play MK at all because of just how bad the NRS community went after him or something.
That is what he said. So, no, it sucks. That super sucks. And it's too bad, too, because I know many of those guys personally, and they're very nice in person. Most of them are cool on Twitter, too. You know, for sure. But they often see attacks where I think that it's, like, not real anymore, because there have been so many attacks in the past. So, unfortunate. I hope that changes, but that kind of attitude doesn't change easily. Like, nobody changes that attitude easily. It's not easy for humans to do.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the communities have that problem. I know, like, the anime community was like that for a while, you know, because of how they always felt like they were the redheaded stepchild, you know, stuff like that. So they've gone through it. Yeah. Obviously, the NRS community has gone through it.
It's been a munch.
It's not just unique to the NRS community. So
it is not.
It's tough because you spend this whole entire time playing a game that you feel is vastly superior to the Street Fighters that are sitting there that are ending top 8s constantly over and over and over again, and it's frustrating. I understand it, but again,
it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. So, but again, there's better ways to go about it than to try to be indignant. So, yeah.
Agreed. Well, that was some drama, unfortunately, but the end result is that the summit will be happening, I think, in a couple of months. I think it's in April, if I recall correctly, early April.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe they don't have it out yet. But in any case, at some point, there's going to be a summit for them, and I like the list of players that are there. I'm going to be honest, man. Tyrant, I think, is a good guy, and that's cool that he would... I feel like that's like a spot that maybe PL should have had if you're going to have the MK9 players.
Oh, right. Yeah, but I mean...
hey.
I wonder if the summit was just like, obviously PL has had some bad social media stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, he's not.
It hasn't been like.
He doesn't really make like. He maybe takes things too far sometimes, but I wouldn't say he's a jerk in some like.
Right. Yeah.
I don't really know how to phrase it. Yeah, he's definitely a good person for sure.
Person.
I like Carl a lot.
And honestly, like. You're right. I feel like he would be a perfect person to put in there into the no pun intended. Right?
He's got a great personality. He's fun. He dances.
Right. And that's the thing too is that at the summit, I feel like would be a great place for him to show off his personality and his side skills and stuff like that. But then also, he's just a storyline that people know. I think he would bring people to want to watch it.
That's what I think so too. But of course, there's going to be voting in. He may make it,
right?
right?
Yeah, the summit has the votes.
I feel like probably players like Rewind should make it in.
Did Samich play MKXL at all?
Yes, he did play MK.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was good.
Okay, obviously I'm a big Samij fan, so I'd like
not
to
a bad
see
pick
Samij
at all.
in there. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Li Joe wants to make it in. I mean, if there's a vote, he will get in there.
That's probably true.
He would get in there for sure. So,
yeah. Okay. So, EMP Pop Split Collusion says that I think they chose Tyrant because of his hype ring, and he always picks wacky characters at the start of an NRS game's life. That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And he's another one of those guys with good personality too.
Oh yeah, I don't mean to cast any doubt on that stuff. He's a good guy for sure. And same with DJT. He's a funny guy. He's been a good player. He's I think been top 8 in 3 of the 4 competitive NRS games, if I recall correctly. So also a strong player as a result. CD Junior, if you're going to take it back to players like Tyrant, CD Junior would be cool. Yeah. Rio would be cool. There's some other choices as well.
Okay.
But yeah, DJT's a very funny guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for that. Is there anything else? So another thing, if maybe you want to talk about this, is that there's a Smash Ultimate Summit, which is sooner. Yes. That's actually in just a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And as we're talking about players not making it into the MK Summit, for this one, I think they definitely messed up big time. So
who's not in it?
The 15 players are included invited and Genesis 6 players and voted in. Zero, MK Leo, Nairo, Armada, Mewtwo King, Leffen, those were invited. Mm-hmm. So you got not just Smash 4 players, but Melee players, right? The Genesis 6 placers, Void, Samsora, Dabuz, and Zachary. Mm-hmm. Okay, they did well. Voted in Mango, Cosmos, Plup, Gluttony, and ZD. So you got players from a couple of different countries. You got players from Melee and from Smash Ultimate. Probably the best player right now in the world is Tweak.
Right. I saw some people in the chat mentioning that he got added in like today or something like that. I don't know. Chat, let me know. Tweak didn't get in, so he's not in.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say he was put. Okay, so he's still not in there. Okay,
so there's one more spot. If you, what is it? Qualifier. Ultimate Nimbus. So there's like one more qualifier spot, I guess.
Okay. So he has to play over there.
So I guess he's got to do that.
Yeah.
But that's a big miss.
Yeah.
That's a big miss.
Yeah, he should be in there for sure. Okay.
Yeah. As some people are mentioning in the chat, they announced the summit before Tweak had shown that stuff. So, but
gotcha.
Then you had the voting process, and he did not get through the voting process.
That's crazy.
I mean, Mango's going to get through, right?
Yeah.
There's some dudes who are going to make it.
I mean, I see Mango and Plop. Obviously, they're more known for Melee and stuff like that. But I think that's cool. I want to see them.
Not opposed to having Melee. I think that is cool. So I think that brings in more viewers. Right? We're talking about that for the MK Summit.
Yeah.
You want more viewers. I get it. Mango's definitely going to bring people in.
I just want them to take it seriously enough that they actually try to make a strong run.
He has been playing it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it would be great for Ultimate if players like Plup and Mango took it seriously and did super well. I don't know how seriously they are taking it. So yeah.
But yeah, they'll probably get blown up. But hey, that's cool.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not. Like Leffen's already had some good placings.
Yeah. But Leffen's also a multi-game talented player, though.
Very strong player.
Yeah. He's very good at Dragon Ball. He's really good at MVCI.
Some people have called him the most talented fighting game player ever.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I love Leffen to death. I think he's an awesome player. I think he's a great personality, to bring up hype and that kind of stuff like that.
Okay. James moves on.
Anyways, dude, I had a whole debate with someone who kept trying to tell me that Tokido wasn't that good. Like, he just spent this.
What a position to take.
Yeah, it wasn't in regard to Leffen, but somebody was just like, Tokido is not, because he's not, like, is he the best? And I was just like, come on, dude, he's like the best in everything. He's like, it doesn't count anymore. And I was, anyway.
Fudo Stamps. Yeah. I don't know if Ninja's a great example. Hasn't that dude won their like initial release tournament for like 4 or 5 different games? I think he won it for like Apex and Fortnite and something else. And he used to be a Halo pro. Right. I don't know if he's a good example.
Yeah. Anyways.
He got carried. All right. Well, I don't know what to say about that. The CPT schedule got revealed.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit better when it comes to Latin America.
A little bit better. Still would love to see a premiere in proper Latin America. Obviously, DR and Puerto Rico and are good places to have the events. And I'm really happy for Game Over. I'm ecstatic for First Attack. But obviously, it's still harder for people to travel there. However, if you could make it to those events, if you can make it to Puerto Rico, which is the CPT finals for Latin America, that means you can make it to America. I think that's kind of the logic that they went with that one.
I think you are right.
So that way, if you couldn't make it there in the first, like in other words, you're not going to have the crossover situation again, where he won and then wasn't able to make it. Though I do want to mention that Sherry Jennings has been like doing a little bit of cool side stuff for like trying to help Latin America players like get visas and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I saw Justin talk about something about that on Twitter or something like that, and I think that's kind of cool. But anyway.
Not that great of a talk, I'll be honest.
I'm sorry. I've been calling it Shuriken since I was a little kid from Ninja Gaiden days, right? Like, you just like, oh, look, it's the Shuriken. Obviously, it's not how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's Shuriken. And I've just been stuck on Shuriken for so long, and I just...
Cool, dude. I'm going to say Lake Helia until I'm dead.
There you go. You go.
Can't not do it. My computer just died, so my notes are gone. But yeah, I think that's good about the CPT changing things up a little bit. It's not going to be perfect because, visas are problems. That is a thing, unfortunately. Local it's like law gets in the way. It's not just that, but like Japan holding big tournaments is an issue because of the gambling situation. Same in Brazil. Like, it's just not ideal. Not ideal, but
Ryu
they got
from the
through.
Bayou. Yeah. That's true. The Victrix tournament is this weekend coming up in San Diego. So
I don't think I know about it.
It's to celebrate the launch of the product. So it's going to. They're basically having like a 64-man tournament down in San Diego that's open to anybody. You have the chance to win the joystick and stuff like that. You can like get your joystick engraved if you buy it there with like a laser engraving machine and stuff like that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be cool. I'll be there.
Oh, dang, all right.
So I'll be doing some commentary for the game.
Dang, all
so
right.
there you go. So for that tournament. So.
SF5 and T7?
Yeah.
Very good. Now, like I said, my tablet just died. I forgot to charge it, even though I have this charger right here.
Okay.
I forgot to plug it in this entire time.
Okay.
And I don't know that it's worth getting it out because our notes are basically over.
Right. Okay. Did you get a chance to try the DOA demo?
No.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to try it either. So.
I heard good things about it.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I haven't even heard anything about it, to be honest.
I saw people saying good things about it. I also watched a bit of it at Winter Brawl.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I just don't know enough to say, but it's cool. I mean, it's things that they've had. Like I've always thought it's cool that they start a 3D game with you being able to walk around like it's a Marvel game. I thought that's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm surprised at how janky I think so many of the animations are.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
DOA is always, the animations have never ever been as strong as Tekken.
That's what I think too. I think it's weird because I think of it as being like a game that's about looks, even though I know that it hasn't been the case for a while. But it's even still, the animations are.
Yeah, I've never thought.
I still have like the old prejudice.
It's weird. Like I've never thought DOA was like a visual powerhouse kind of thing. It's always.
That's not what I mean. I mean like it's a boobly game.
Oh yeah,
it's about that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I heard good things about it. I heard good things about it. That the game was fun, and it was interesting to watch. For what that's worth. I'm no expert in it at all, and thankfully, when the people were commentating, they were doing like some explanation of stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I don't even know the basics to be honest. So I thought it was cool to watch.
All right, nice. All right, but they did announce the World Championships for DOA, right?
Yes, they did, and you got the information there on the whole thing. I think there's a lot of money involved. If I recall correctly.
90,000 in cash prizes available to them. So, official DOA Twitter account announced that Dead or Alive World Championships is a thing. And, as we said, there will be qualifier. There's 90K in prizes. Qualifier events will take place in North America, Europe, and in Asia. And each region's top competitors will compete in the Grand Finals event, which will take place in Japan.
Cool.
And exact location will be announced in the future. So
I think that's cool. I mean, it's nice for that scene to have stuff going on like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Harada even at Evo Japan addressed that he's going to see what he can do about the prize money thing in Tekken. Like I said, I'm sure Harada wanted it to be higher than that in the first place. It's not just as simple as being like, all right, here's money. Like it's the approval processes and all these things like that. It's wild. By the way, that new Street Fighter V DLC trailer came out. I actually really thought nice editing job on that one.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah, as a combo video maker, I was actually kind of impressed by the little editing things in there. And
agreed.
They revealed that new Final Fight background, which that place apparently is never going to get finished constructed.
No.
Or anything like that, but like all the characters are in the background.
Yeah,
including Damned is in the background. I know people have talked about the whistle, and they're like, "Oh, does that mean he's gonna be?" I'm sad because Sodom's in the background, so I'm like, "Does that mean he's not gonna make it in the game?" But we've had Alex, the Alex situation, and even Hugo in Street Fighter 4. Right?
There is precedent for it. Yeah,
and since he's so prominently in the front, it might be easier to take him out. You know what I mean? Or
so
something like that.
I feel like. Yeah, my read of that is that they made a model that is detailed enough that they put him right up there.
Right.
Like if you look at the Rolento in the back, he's a little janky, right? The Andors are like a little weird back there, right? Damned is like barely peeking out, but he is
a full Sodom
he's
model.
A full Sodom.
Yeah.
He's clearly made. That makes me consider, and Abigail is at about the same distance back. In fact, maybe even further. And
wait, is Abigail in the background?
Abigail's
too?
in the background too.
I didn't even notice.
All this,
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
So when you play Abigail, he'll probably disappear from the background.
Probably so.
Too. Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably be like the stages that have all the four kings in the back, where when you play one of them, like they're not in the back anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no problem with that. So I actually think that Sodom.
That actually makes it a better chance that he's.
That's what I think. I feel like looking at this, I come away from it thinking, oh, Sodom.
Yeah, Sodom and Abigail. Sodom and Honda. I still feel like need to be in there just for my OCD completionist sake, you know.
But Damned, I also find it compelling that the whistle shows up in the trailer, and that Xavier Woods played Damned in the little Cody reveal trailer.
Oh.
So he's like an important enough character that they had Xavier Woods do that.
Maybe.
That was brought to my attention by Kerbler on Twitter.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. Although he said that wasn't something that came
Kerbler also sent us the tweet that they were like data mining some stuff, and they saw something about a V skill 1 and a V skill 2, right? So that's interesting. But wouldn't that be too late to add something like that by the time you get to March or something? You know, do we even have a season 4? Come on. Like, honestly, I'm actually kind of frustrated by the way that it's going down, and I really wish that they would announce something soon.
Well, Final Round's not too far away.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Damned would be interesting, but like, if we put Damned and Sodom and Abigail and they're all in Street Fighter, it'd be just weird. Like,
I wouldn't expect all of those. I
mean, if those three are in there, just put Rolento and Eddie E in there, you know, or E-Dai, or however you want to pronounce it. Just stick them all in there so every boss is there. I mean, why not? So, I mean, Eddie E has been in a Street Fighter already, so he was in one of Cody's win poses. So,
well, as I've often talked about, I'm confused about how Shodown could be in there in an interesting and unique way.
So like I said,
he's just basically preempted.
Well, so that's the thing is, if they put him in there, I hope they remove his grappler-ness out of there.
He's got to be way different.
I want him to be like he was in Final Fight, which he just basically ran you over like a football player. Unless they made it so that his SPD is kind of the slower jumping one. But see, Birdie's got that too, yeah. So if they just make it so that, you know, really it's about him trying to combo into the Daikyo burning thing, and then maybe play up the counters that he has a little bit, and then just make it so that he just has a lot of like armored charge moves. Like
the V trigger could be like or maybe V skill switches weapons.
Oh yeah, actually, dude. Even if the V trigger was you had to activate V trigger to get his SPD, then it would be different enough. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. I think I think it's hard to do.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, that's some news.
Okay.
So they're not leaving us completely in the dust.
Right.
But it would be nice, I agree, to get more information.
Right. But I mean, look, it could also be a situation that all the assets or some of the information that they know they can announce just hasn't been prepared yet. Again, same thing, red tape, all this stupid. Like, people don't realize that you can't just run a company by going, let's just do this. It's like it takes, especially at a big company like Capcom, it requires like 9 layers of approval and all these stupid things like that. Like, if you're an independent company, if you're like if you're like French bread, I'm sure it's just like, hey, let's announce this today. You know, even then there's probably like 2 layers of approval. You know, so. Oh, the Mega Man Ryu looks kind of janky to me. I don't know. Like, because the Mega Man Ryu and the Sakura Roll are them cosplaying as the characters, as opposed to the Airman and Gutsman, which are just like, here they are. That's just them. Gutsman looks sick. So Mega Man looks weird because they even added all the textures to him to make it look like he's wearing a costume. Yeah. And it looks kind of like saggy and kind of gross. And so he looks more like old man box art Mega Man from Cross Tekken than he actually looks like Mega Man. Like, I would have rather just had it if they just made him Mega Man straight up. Like, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously Sakura Roll doesn't look bad. Like, Sakura Roll looks fine. But the Mega Man one looks kind of janky to me, so.
Balrog is supposed to be cosplaying? That just looks like Gutsman to me.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a cosplay at all, so.
Yeah. Well, anything else to discuss, or I think that's probably about it?
Yeah, that's
about all that I wrote down anyway.
We've been doing 3 hours of stuff. I mean, I probably won't have a chance. Obviously, I just want to sit here and gush about Tetris 99 and just talk about how it is the greatest game of
What do you think about having a team aspect in Tetris 99?
I think it's fine the way it is, to be honest with you. I think I like just having it just be as crazy like that. I think I'm probably coming from a different position because I just wouldn't want my team to drag me down.
Of course. Well, yeah, that's like any team game. No, I mean, that's a concern that anybody has with a team game, of course.
Honestly, like, if they put a mode in there, I think it would be a great idea because there's a lot of people who are beginners in Tetris who just don't stand a chance right now in this thing, and it's just like they die instantaneously.
I think that'd be cool. I think if that were to occur, I think there really could be like an esports for Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, Tetris 99 right now is 100% uncommentatable right now. You can't.
No way to know, right? Like, it's just so hard to do.
Because there's 99 screens, and what do? You just watch one guy, and like, it's like weird and stuff like that. But dude, talk about the things that they did in the game are like, they just did some really smart mechanics to the game that made it a lot more interesting and compelling than I thought it was going to be. And not only that, but my favorite thing about the game is that I've always been a pure Tetris player, right? I'm not about the T-spins. I'm not about the 4 wide and all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, if you could do the T-spins, the best players out there are doing that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have a 45% win rate right now, but some of those guys, like Kitaru has a 60% win rate. This guy from Japan has like a 90% win rate, right? And that's because they're so good at the T-spins and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, that stuff obviously makes you stronger even in this version. But the thing about it is, all that stuff is mitigated so much by the battle royale aspect of the game. Like 4 wide is a great technique that you just blow away the opponent instantaneously, right? On a 1-to-1, 4 wide kills the other guy right away. Now you kill one guy, and you still got 97 guys left there still coming at you and stuff like that. So it actually turns out that the style of Tetris that I prefer, which is just getting Tetrises and playing smart and stuff, and, you know, not that the other ways aren't smart, but just playing like the pure Tetris line method works. So like I streamed it last night and I'm literally playing it and it's so ingrained in my head that I can just like talk and like do the whole thing at the same time. Like it's such a zone out kind of thing for me that I'm just like sitting there and just playing it. And it's I love the fact that style of play allows me to have the win percentage that I do. That you don't have to learn all the crazy things like that in the game. And I just think that's kind of neat. That's encouraging for other players that they don't have to learn all this crazy DT cannon and all this other crazy stuff like that just to even compete with people. You know what I mean? And then they have a lot of interesting mechanics, like the junk shows up in a queue and doesn't get sent to you right away, and it takes a couple of turns.
Yeah.
And then depending on the phase of the game, later phase of the game, the junk comes right away.
Yeah.
But if you clear a line, it guarantees that the junk doesn't show up before the next piece. So if you can continue to clear lines, the junk will never get sent to you, and you keep hacking away at the stack. So even at the later games when they come and they drop right away, if you see that, you can go line clear, line clear, line clear, line clear, and mitigate it and know that you have time to save yourself. They just did a lot of really smart things, and Eureka developed it. So they're the same people that did the Tetris the Grandmaster, so I'm not surprised that they did it so well. But man, for a game that came literally out of nowhere, because I was in Japan and all of a sudden I just got like 90 tweets. They're like, so what about Tetris 99? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, for a game that came out of nowhere, I just feel like it's like so good. So good. Anyways.
It seems good, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways.
I broke my split box.
I saw. What happened there?
I was trying to open the top because one of the wires had come loose on the buttons. As I was opening the top, I think I just pulled too hard. I wasn't pulling in the right direction, maybe. And the top board split.
Yeah, I saw the crack on there. I was just like, ugh.
I mean, that's a bummer, but it didn't break so badly that I can't use it. I basically just like jammed it back down there, and I'm not just playing.
And it's
like, whatever.
It's version 4, and it's more lessons for the next version, right?
Yeah, this is 3. So I'm gonna make 4.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's a good lesson. So now I like redesigned it a little bit in a better and safer way.
Are you gonna try to make it out of a different material? I saw some people talking to you about that. So
acrylic.
Yeah. So it'll be a little more
1/4-inch acrylic.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do see-through acrylic or?
I think so.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's either that or red.
Of course. Or how about a see-through red?
It is a kind of a see-through red.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it, but yeah, it's that's.
I mean,
it was mid-set, so I was playing online against Mike, and like in between a game, like after a game, I like noticed, oh, okay, this button's not working. I gotta look into that. So I'm like trying to make it happen quickly in between games.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've been able to do that in the past, and this time I just messed it up in some way.
See, you messed up a different way. Now I know the truth.
Okay.
You were playing online, you got mad, and you punched your split box, and that's what broke it.
You got me, man.
Because you're obviously the very emotional player of us.
I used to be, but I think once I played Marvel 3, I basically got over being mad at games.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the truth.
It's funny because everyone sees how mad I get at fighting games, and that's like maybe a fourth to a third how mad that I used to get, and fighting games is what did it. Because, I mean, not to do the humble brag, but it's just like before Street Fighter, I beat everybody in everything. Like in every video game. Like I just never lost with my friends and stuff like that. I was just like the best at video games. And then Street Fighter was the first time I've ever actually had to lose enough to the point that I had to get used to losing. It was a new feeling for me.
Yeah.
Honestly was. So.
Yeah.
But that's cool, though. That's cool.
Yeah, so anyway, I got some new info, and I'll be changing things up.
Actually, Ludology, we're probably going to try to do that a little bit more.
Yeah,
we
have been talking about that.
We're revamping our Patreon so that basically if you sub to our Patreon, then we're going to run lobbies with the two of us and everybody else, and viewers and stuff and Patreon subs and stuff like that. So into the lobbies and everything. So we're going to try to work on some stuff like that at some point in time. So
I'd never heard of the syndrome name Best on the Block, but
which one?
That Burning Pyre brings up. What you're talking about, Best on the Block syndrome, I assume what that means is that you were the best of your group of friends.
Yeah.
And then you join the larger FGC and you find out you're not actually good at all. But I found that out too.
But I mean, for me, it wasn't even fighting game. It was just everything.
Well, that was pre-fighting games, I guess, right?
It was everything, yeah.
But for me, it was fighting games in the 90s. Yeah, a lot of people went through that, for sure. It's good to have a name for it. I like it.
I still remember one time we went to Taiwan, and we were visiting another family. This was back in 85, I think, or something. No, it wasn't 89 or something like that. But, whatever. I was in 5th or 6th grade at that point in time. And we went to a friend's house. Our parents took us to one of their friends' house, and they had kids, and they had a Nintendo. And they were like, oh, we're so good at it and everything. And I was like, I'm good at video games. So we had a competition. And so, we played, Ice Climber versus where we're trying to scroll the screen and knock the other guy off and everything. Destroyed him, right? They played Super Mario Brothers, and they made it to, I think it was, 1-4 on 1 life. And they're like, okay. Without warping, I made it to, 6-something and 1 life. And so they were just sitting there watching me play. They played Excite Bike and the 5th track, which is the hard track, and they got 18th place, and I got 1st place and stuff like that. Dude, that was my life growing up. I just destroyed everybody and everything that I did, and fighting games was one of the first times that I've ever actually had to learn that I couldn't just be free the best. So. But, fortunately, Tetris is back, so, that's good. Even that, I know I'm not even close to the best, because some of those other guys
somebody's
are
ridiculous. Got a 90% win rate, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it for now. But we're definitely planning to stream more.
Yes, and
playing
also,
video games.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/UltraChenTV, as well as twitch.tv/jchensor, as well as UltraDavid. And
I've actually been streaming.
Keeping up, and then we are going to be, as we mentioned, trying to do some more Patreon stuff in the future as well. So like and subscribe, and please leave a comment on the page, if you guys have anything to say. So there you go.
Look at you. You got the full spiel down.
Trying to. I
would have totally forgotten again tonight.
Yeah.
This is something we've talked about. We need to do this. And I forget every night. And then when I'm driving home, I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Forgot.
But definitely like and subscribe and leave a comment below. What do you want them to leave a comment about below? What do you want them to leave a comment about?
What do you think about banana passes?
All right, what do you think about
Give me a good banana pass line.
What do you think about banana passes, as well as let us know what you want the 6th Fate to be in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. There you go.
Skullgirls. Sarabella. Think about how sick that would be. It's obvious. Valentine, what if you had vials? How sick would that be?
It would kind of
obviously be cool. What if you had in BB tag? What if you had the input slowdown vials?
Oh, that would be no. So
right?
now I have to do the Andre the Giant gif, right? Where I'm like, like you've gone too far, David.
I think that's a winner.
We're done. We're done. That is going too far. So
give me a good banana pass line.
All right.
That would be sick, though. Anyway,
thanks guys for tuning in. Peace out, everybody, and see you guys later this week on our own personal streams.